Okay, guys, we are live. So for those listening at home, welcome to the Live from Sword Coast podcast. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly dungeon master this evening. Tonight, I should have grabbed this before. Don't. We are going to be playing... Where's my DMG? Where's my darn DMG? There it is. We are kicking off our first session for our brand new campaign playing 4th edition Dungeons & Dragons. It is the Scales of War. Well, it's a modified version of the Scales of War epic campaign that was published in Dungeon Magazine throughout the kind of late 2000s. As a warning from the outset here, if you intend to play through the Scales of War series, as well as some other modules that I'm incorporating into this campaign, spoilers will abound. So if you want to play these, just probably don't watch these because it will spoil the surprise for you.
Can I add something to that?
Of course.
I don't think that anyone should also let us know what happens in it as well, since we're going to be playing it.
Absolutely, yeah. What I've done is also there for. I will let you know there are some things that more hardcore D&D players may recognize as things. Like I've made a mention to James that and to Brent. There's something that's going to be introduced in this scene, or in this opening scene, that may mean something to them. But I've asked them not to spoil it for you if you as a player don't know. And I'm going to do that as we go along as well. James, I see you fidgeting around there. Can you hear us?
Oh yeah.
Okay, great.
I was just checking. I also have something to add to that.
Sure, yeah.
If you plan on playing a Minotaur, don't bother, because Oberon and Rakis are going to kick so much ass, it's going to spoil it for you.
It's over. It's over.
Okay,
or if you plan to play it, just tune in to see how it's done properly.
Okay, there you go.
So this campaign will also serve as a educational tool for those hoping to play Minotaurs in 4th edition Dungeons & Dragons. And we are happy to provide that service to you. Without further ado, maybe what I'll do is I will go through and I'll have everyone do intros, and then we're going to try and get ourselves into Roll20, and then we will get this game going. So I'm going to go with the order that you guys logged in, which I think is camera right to camera left for me. So, Jeffrey, want to tell us who you are and who you're playing?
I'm Jeff, and I am playing Oberon Bloodhoof, one half of the ginormous Minotaur brothers. He is a psychic character, an ardent, who uses emotion to assist his allies and control his enemies.
Nice. Next up is James.
Hi, I am playing Ember, a female tiefling that likes to burn stuff. So she is a pyromancer mage from the Essential line.
Okay. Next up is Dave.
Hi, folks. My name is Dave. I'll be playing Rakis Bloodhoof, brother to Oberon. He's kind of the damage sponge of the group, and more than likely the more psychotic of the two brothers.
Yes. I think Rakis is the raging yang to Oberon's calming yin. And I'm hoping I have those two references correct. If not, swip them around. Finally, last but not least, is Gork.
Hi, I'm Corey, also known as Cork. I'm playing Xavier, the Invoker Child of Prophecy.
Nice. Okay, we do have one other player who will be playing this campaign, Brent. But unfortunately, Brent is fortunately on vacation with his family this weekend, so he's missing it. However, it was nice of him to send an email to us to say that if the characters die, that his character likes Minotaur steak before he was forced to turn the phone off on the plane. So
it's funny that he says that as the melee striker of the group to the defender and the leader.
Yes.
Pretty sure he's more likely to become steak if we let it happen. Then.
Yeah. Also, Brent and I have had a conversation there. As we go forward, too, guys. Like, if you need to make modifications to how you spent your points on your attributes as you see how these characters play, we'll do that. Because I pointed out to Brent that he has one more hit point than the mage right now. So it maybe wasn't a good idea to dump everything into Dex and fuck all into his Constitution.
I told him your melee character, you need some con.
Yeah. We'll see how it works out. This is, I think, hands down. For those listening at home, I mean, you may, if you've seen any of our we've had a couple 4th edition sessions playing in our Shadow of the Demon Lord campaign, and then we had a one shot where we played that as well. 4th edition D&D is a game that I ran for pretty much the life cycle of the game, less about maybe 5 months from when it was first published to the end of the life cycle. It is probably my favorite edition of Dungeons and Dragons for a bunch of different reasons. But for one of them, primarily, combat is so much fun in this, for players as well as for DMs. There's tons of fun, great tricks you get to throw at players for this, and I look forward to doing that, hopefully, tonight. So, guys, let's swap over to Roll20 and see if we can't sort out what the F is going on with our cameras. Okay, let me see if I can present this to everybody. Go present to everyone. Okay, and then I am going to turn my camera off here, and let's see if this makes for a stuttering Kev. It does. I think my video, or rather my audio, still works fine. But let's see here. Hey, look at that! I see me.
Hey, there you
and
go.
Once again, I'm moving slowly.
I see you.
Yeah, so the video for me is going to be a little choppy, but that's fine. For the other guys, Dave, we can't get yours to work, unfortunately. Cork, on your call, try reloading Roll20, see if that'll put your video in.
Okay, I'm going to log out and log back in here.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing changed for me.
No, I don't know why that is. You know, James, between now and the next session, we can try and sort of debug that.
That's annoying.
Yeah, it's old. The choppiness with mine, like it's weird that it wasn't a problem when we played Night's Black Agents earlier this week. And last session, I didn't have this problem with this choppiness, so I maybe I need to like run a defrag or something. I don't know, or sacrifice a goat. I really don't know. Okay, Cork, yeah, are your settings set to broadcast video on Roll20? Let's see. Oh, we lost Cork from the call altogether.
The viewers can just focus on my wonderful face.
There you go. Okay, let me...
Although they're probably bored of it from our Wednesday sessions.
let me just... Just going to message Corey, let him know that we don't see him. Can't hear him anymore. Okay, so let's see what... so once Cork rejoins the call, he'll be fine. And then we will be off to the races. You guys, there's no delay in my in the audio, right? It's just my video that's looking choppy?
Yeah, the audio is fine from this.
Okay, so that'll be fine. I don't care if I look like Max Headroom. How's that for a dated reference? Jeez. There we go. Okay, Cork, can you hear us?
I can hear you, but can you see my video?
Okay, so what I need you to do, Cork, is at the top of your video call in the Google Plus call.
Yeah.
There should be an option where there's a little like camera looking thing. It's a box with a little triangle on the end. If you click on that, that'll turn your camera off. Oh, perfect. And now try reloading your just the Roll20, or refresh that page or whatever.
I'm shutting it down altogether.
Oh, we lost Ember already. Well, I hope you enjoyed her campaign. She was a bright light, snuffed out all too soon.
Okay, I think I have to do the same thing and log out of. No, because when I rebooted it, I tried Roll20 first and it still wouldn't go.
Okay, Cork, on your settings in Roll20 are if you go to the cog there in the top right.
Video only. Video only.
It's weird.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know why that's doing that. Well, whatever. You know what? We have your characters' names down there, so fuck it. We'll kick off. I don't think you need to see my need to see your smile. Between now and the next session, we can try and debug this. So, guys, our scene opens of a city at night. The city has 4 massive walls that are surrounding it. The city itself is set in these darkened foothills all around the city. There's just nothing but blackness. There's the moon that's shining, and we see sweeping away. There are rolling hills and stands of dark blue-green trees. To the west of there are these sweeping mountains that shimmer in the moonlight. The outer wall for this city, and it's the city, the walls themselves are perfectly square as well, or rectangular at least. The outer wall is the largest, and it's these massive, almost 100-foot tall stone edifices. There are torches kind of burning on the walls, on the ramparts, and we see dwarven guards walking along with nasty-looking crossbows. As the camera kind of pans in, we see that there are some lights from inside inside the different houses in here. But the thing that dominates the skyline is this massive series of towers right in the center of the 4 sets of walls. And the towers seem to join together to form this massive dome that gives this almost a look like a kind of extended crown if you're looking at it just from the skyline. But not in that quarter. A little further away, there is a marketplace that still is vibrant and bright. Torches are burning. There are magical lanterns that are lit. There's the sound of people singing, people enjoying themselves, kids laughing, and the camera sort of pans over this joyful scene to sort of settle on this crowd that is watching a puppet show. The puppet show has this very elaborate design, kind of like a velvet, like a red velvet sort of drapes that are set up to perform the stage. And what we see in the background is there is some kind of like tin or something. And everyone in the audience is sitting very quietly and listening very carefully. And then we start hearing sort of like a rumbling, like as if there was thunder, in microcosm. And the rattling tin, which has been stained black, it starts casting a little bit of reflections. And you hear this man's voice say, "In the beginning, there was chaos, formless and boundless." And it kind of rumbles and rumbles. And into this was born the primordials. And we see these puppets come up, these crude characters that look like, wooden carvings or wooden expressions of, wildfire and tumbling rocks and raging oceans and swirling winds. And it says, and in the wake of the primordials and the titans, the world was formed. And we see this sort of like, land sort of raise up. And then you hear the man's voice say, "And onto this world came the gods." And you see from above the curtain, you see these almost like pale blue painted things that seem to have a little bit of a magical luminescence to them. They are much more finely crafted, much more finely detailed, smooth, welcoming, and kind of beautiful angles to them, or lines and curves, rather than the harsh, jagged angles of the primordials. The gods, says the voice, arrived in the world and found it good, and in that world they brought to existence the many races that populate the world. And then we see some like small little characters sort of like walk out on stage, much smaller than the other puppets, But one is clearly like a dwarf, and one is clearly a dragonborn. One is clearly an elf with the big, pointed ears. One is and then of course one is human. They sort of walk out, and it says, and the races were thankful to the gods, and all the puppets sort of like clumsily go down onto their knees. And then you hear again that rumbling, and the voice says, however, when the primordials discovered the gods' interference with their creation, there was war. And here's bam, it's just like something hit the back of that metal, and then there's bright lights that sort of shine out, and you can hear the younger kids in particular kind of gasping in the audience. And then all the puppets sort of drop down, the land drops down, and the voice says, across all of creation, the dawn war spread as the primordials and gods fought to determine the fate of all existence. And here again, a crash. Then you see, one of those light figures go by with one of those jagged, a small, willowy-looking woman in a diaphanous robe, tumbles to the ground with this rock, basically a rock slide given form. And then this shorter man with an axe sort of is battling against this puppet that appears to be a raging fire. And it clearly is magical because it does seem like it's almost living fire. The greatest of these battles was fought deep in the mountains, and then you see this sort of like set comes up, and onto that battlefield strode the mightiest of the primordials, and you see this sort of like walking mountain puppet. It's got a giant, if you pictured a mountain that had a rough approximation of legs underneath, and then two massive loping arms, almost like gorilla-like at the side. And with it is dragging this gigantic axe that seems to be crafted from magma or molten stone itself. Strode, the mightiest of the primordials, and Io, god of dragons. And you see this very cool-looking dragon puppet come out that doesn't quite look like any dragon you've seen. It has a weird, like, purplish cast to its scales on the top, and then it almost like coppery or golden sort of hue to its scales underneath. This dragon puppet seems incredible. It rears its head up and roars, and then a little burst of flame, comes out of the end. The primordial puppet sort of rears up and raises its axe up, and from its axe there's this like gout of magma that goes out and then sort of sprays out into the audience, which transforms into these little light embers that sort of float over the lot of the crowd, and everyone kind of hushes and says, "This battle raged, the mightiest of the contests in the Dawn War for centuries." And you see these two things, the two puppets clamor together, but the sound that echoes out from this when they hit is as if you were there. It's clearly some kind of magical effect, but it's this the sound of like an earthquake, smashing up against a typhoon. There's this wow, and you think you can even feel the waft of the heat from these two puppets, and they struggle with each other, and they seem to take on like a life of their own, as if they were living things, struggling and fighting. And when finally, after centuries of toil and struggle, the primordial saw its opening, and this primordial puppet brings its giant axe up, and it comes down and basically cleaves this dragon puppet right in two. There's a brilliant light that shines out from this as it does so. So much that you even have to sort of cover your eyes, or those in the audience do. The puppet, the dragon puppet, sort of falls into two glowing pieces off stage or below the stage, and the primordial puppet raises its giant axe over its head and roars out this bellowing triumph, which you would think is like a battle cry of an ogre or some other massive being. All the younger kids in the audience are speechless at this point. And then the voice says again, and in that moment of undeserved triumph, the primordial found his undoing. And then you hear and then another roar, this massive roar of some titanic reptilian beast. And you see two new puppets spring up into the air above this primordial. One of the puppets is a beautiful silver, perfectly formed dragon. You can't quite pick, if you were in the know as to how to characterize different dragon types, you wouldn't be able to pick it, but it's certainly one of the metallic breeds. And the other dragon, which seems like a cacophony of draconic screams, is this thicker, squatter, 5-headed dragon. And each of the heads has a distinctly different color, but the body itself is a dark crimson. Those heads, of course, are red, blue, green, black, and white. The two dragons, new dragon puppets, roar around, and the voice says, in that moment of destruction, as Io's existence was snuffed, so were born the mother and father of dragons. And Bahamut, the god of just enforcement, would see his progenitor's death avenged. And at that, this dragon, this silver dragon, jumps down on top of this primordial, which struggles against him. It rocks back and forth and tries to knock this thing from his back, but the puppet is tearing into this primordial, throwing little pieces off, which drift again as sparks sort of through the whole length of the crowd. And at that, the voice then says, and seeing that triumph was possible, and as though she would later be seen as the Chaos Queen, the goddess and mother of dragons, Tiamat, would see vengeance as a more driving force than her hatred of her birth brother. And at that, the other dragon screams and charges in. And you see that they start struggle, and from the only time whence the mother and father of dragons cooperated, they so avenged the death of their progenitor. And then there's you see the puppets sort of struggle back and forth. There's, the land itself shakes, and then finally, boom, the primordial puppet falls to the ground, dead. And there's a big cheer from the crowd, and the voice then finally says, and so it was that the mother and father of dragons was born and brought into this world, or so the tales tell. And that's how this particular puppeteer has been finishing all of his shows. So there's sort of this big cheer and cry, everyone kind of cheers up, and then you see the the curtains come down, and this guy steps out, and he's an older gentleman who still has his puppets with him, and swirling around him as well are 1 second here. I want to get the number right. I believe it is 7 canaries that are fluttering around this old man, and he takes a bow, and the audience gives a big round of applause, and then they sort of get up, and seeing that the show is going to be ended, they begin making their way off to enjoy the other festivities. 7 canaries, I'm right. So at that, we then see that as everyone's sort of filtering out, we see one figure making his way towards the front, and Cork, why don't you give us a quick description of what Xavier looks like?
Xavier looks like maybe a 12-year-old kid with white hair, kind of gold eyes, and just kind of street clothes.
So Xavier, you walked up because you this particular show just really struck you. Every show you've seen from this guy is really incredible, and I think you maybe just want to say, that a thank you for the show or something like that.
Yeah.
So you walk up, and as you're sort of waiting to talk to this guy, I wonder if the problem is my fucking Norton is running its backup scans. Stupid Norton. This actually used to be a problem when we used Skype. It would start chewing up a shit ton of bandwidth. Where are you, Norton? What are you causing me problems for? No, maybe not. Anyway, so as you're waiting to sort of talk to this guy, because there's a couple kids who are wanting to see the puppets, and he's talking to them, and the canaries are flittering around this guy. Each of them like a really brilliant, vibrant, rich yellow, almost golden colored, and you see something catches in the firelight at your feet there, Cork. You look down, and it's a little like purplish, goldish scale. It looks like something fell off. If you were to guess, it looks like one of the scales from Io fell off and landed elsewhere.
Okay, I'm gonna go pick it up.
So you go pick it up, and the kids finish up, and you have an opportunity to go and talk to this old man now. What would you like to say?
Thank you for the show. As usual, you knocked it out of the park.
So thank you, my brother. What is your name?
Xavier.
Xavier. Well, I'm thrilled to hear that you found the show enjoyable. I trust you found it educational as well.
Yes, I'm very interested in myths and legends.
So as you talk to this guy, there's like 3 of the canaries seem to flutter over towards you, and they're sort of fluttering around you, like almost like a mosquito kind of thing. How do you react to that?
I'm just gonna shoo them away with my hand.
Okay, so when you raise your hand to shoo them away, he notices this and he says, "Oh, come on, Kuria, Borkad, Songrad, get back!" And the canaries kind of flitter over and land on him. And there are sort of there's like 2 or 3 on his head and like 1 or 2 on his shoulders, and they're sort of all over the place, and repositioning themselves as if like they were fluttering around on a tree limb or something. He takes no mind of them. He says, "So then, Xavier, so I hope that you enjoyed. I will be moving on from this, but from after this show, are you from here?"
No.
No.
Well, it depends. It depends what you mean, but no.
A mystery, eh? You know what that all great mysteries give rise to?
What's that?
He leans
More
into
mysteries.
leads into a kind of in a conspiratorial way, and he looks around. The best stories.
I'm gonna thank him.
You're very welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed. Please enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you, my brother.
All right, I'm gonna wander off.
Okay. So where you can wander off, guys, this is obviously the town of Overlook. So if you go into your handouts, the only handout that you guys actually have right now I'll show you, is the map of the town of Overlook, or I should say the city of Overlook. Overlook is it's not a metropolis by any means, but it boasts a respectable population of about 16,000 souls. You can see from the map that there are the 4 walls that I mentioned from before. Where you guys find yourself presently, if you can see on the screen, can you see? Oh, I can't ping on this. If you open up the handout to a bigger form, you can see that there's a red letter A in the top right. Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
That is the neighborhood of Blister. Now, Blister is where you guys currently live. To give you a quick sense of what Blister is like, if you were to, where am I here? Yes. So if you were to, the buildings of Blister are a mix of timber and stone of architectural styles ranging the gamut. Old dwarven buildings stand next to almost organic tiefling dreaming halls, while a halfling gambling den sits in the shadow of an old temple dedicated to Sehanine and in her more larcenous aspect. The streets thread their way through the press of buildings darkened by shadows cast by structures built too closely together. Filth and detritus clog the alleys, sometimes spilling out into onto the major thoroughfares, that is, roads large enough to accommodate a horse. The people who populate this are humans, halflings, dragonborns have the largest number in Blister, though one can find a variety of races here. As mentioned, most are adventurers, thieves, and traveling folk representing this city's most diverse population. Where you guys happen to be living right now is in a boarding house that is really just known as Zarn's house, and it is next to a place called the Pig and Spittle. I'm sorry, Pig and Bucket. And the Pig and Bucket is where you guys basically have been spending your time. Now, as we discussed in the character creation session, where you guys find yourself right now is basically shortly after a fairly unsuccessful outing. One of the most powerful companies or groups in Outlook and indeed in the Elsyr Vale in general is a group called the Elsyr Consortium. It's a group of merchants and traders and manufacturers that sort of bandied together and formed this like trading block to try and assert a lot of control and get rich from the trade in the Elsyr Vale. You guys finally, in your last job, you finally got an opportunity to work for them. They have the most lucrative contracts. They pay the best, and they're always looking for work. Unfortunately, during your expedition to a place called Urgaz, you encountered that weird arcane or ancient, I should say, arch that somehow something wrong happened to it. And in the course of doing so, it killed the two merchants that you were escorting. What this means is that you guys are effectively on the shit list of the Elsyr Consortium. And if you're on the shit list of the Elsyr Consortium, that means any lesser merchants are unlikely to hire you as well. And the only people who might are probably suicidal missions. So you guys made the collective decision to leave the Elsyr Vale, to travel all the way to the east beyond what you can see on the map here, to a place called Restwell Keep, which is also known as the Keep on the Chaos Scar, a wild and untamed area that is dominated by... your connection to the server has been interrupted. What's going on?
You're like logged out of Roll20.
Am I not in Roll20 right now?
No.
Hold up. I'm showing myself as on it. Let me...
Oh, no, there you are. Never mind. You're still there.
Okay, that's weird. Let's make sure the call's still going. Yeah. Okay, so where we are is you guys basically getting ready. We're picking up in the last days before you're heading out to head to the Chaos Scar. You've effectively given notice to the place you're living. You've bundled up the stuff you've got. It's going to take you months to get there. I had mentioned in some of my emails, one of the things I really want to capture in this game is that old school feel of how dangerous and how much of an adventure travel is. I don't necessarily want to go to the length of a Tolkien kind of thing where we got to track what you're eating every fucking day. But I want to try and capture the drama of the sweeping, dangerous distances, and the real, like the big gaps of nothing or dangerous nothing that exist between the points of light in here. So to that end, it's going to take you 2 months to get there, but I mean in and of itself will be likely an adventure. You have a number of things that you need to take care of though in the time that between now and when you go. for one, you probably want to check in with, I think I told you before, but if I didn't, your contact with the Elseer Consortium is a dwarf who is like a minor functionary. He's a guy who has some degree of authority within the consortium, but not a huge amount. His name is Morgan Dwodum. And Morgan is, I'll let you guys tell me who, sort of had who was the most connected to him.
What race is he again?
He's dwarf. Overlook is almost predominantly dwarves. I shouldn't say, and that's not true. The dwarves are the most populous people here, but because of the trade and whatever else, it does feature a lot of other races. Overlook is actually, so I mentioned the Dawn War, or the puppeteer mentioned Dawn War. Shortly after the Dawn War is when sort of like the first memories of what's now myth came in. There was something called the Age of Chains. And during the Age of Chains, the giants and titans, which were creations or servitors of the primordials during the war, they enslaved the dwarves. And the dwarves spent a good long time acting as slaves until the end of the Age of Chains, when they cast off those chains and they defeated the giants and drove them out. Overlook actually dates from that period. It's one of the first dwarven cities that was founded in that period. It's not necessarily a homeland or anything like that, but it's an extraordinarily old and always associated with dwarves. So the fact that they're a dwarf doesn't mean you necessarily have to have a connection. They're just, dwarves have been here forever, So who's the one who knows Morgan? Maybe here, what I'll do is I'll tell you the three things that you guys have to take care of, because James, you do have one thing you need to take care of yourself. So one of you guys will want to take have a meeting with Morgan and see if things can be smoothed over, if maybe you can, because I think that your plan is not necessarily to always, be working out of the Restwell Keep. Restwell Keep is sort of like the frontier. If you can come back and work regularly for the Elseer Consortium, that will be a much brighter future for you guys. Each of these three tasks, if you succeed in these things, you will get something tangible out of it, by the way, just as a metagame kind of thing. So Morgan, you want to go talk to and maybe see how things are being left with the Elseer Consortium. I'm not sure if you've talked to Morgan. You probably talked to Morgan after you got back briefly, and you're hoping that maybe if he cools down, he might put a good word in for you, because he's the one who sort of got you the job in the first place. You guys will also want to meet with Kyle Roster. Kyle Roster is the owner of the Pig and Bucket, your usual watering hole. The Pig and Bucket serves as kind of it's a place where adventurers and mercenaries and that sort like to collect and trade stories and hear about opportunities and so forth. And that's where you've met some other adventurers as well. Some who are friendly and some who are not so friendly and are happy to see your misfortune as their gain. What you want to talk to Kyle about is basically to collect your mail. You want that any correspondence or any kind of messages or whatever else, that he'll collect them and keep them for you. You're on pretty good terms with Kyle thanks to the relationship that Oberon developed with Edders, the cook, and the relationship that what's his name? Halen developed with one of the waitresses, a half-elf woman named Kirill. Now, the thing is that I think we talked about this in the last session, guys, that you guys were, since the that antediluvian arch was destroyed, you guys have been afflicted with a weird magical malady that causes you guys to basically fade from existence sometimes. And that's what's happened to Halen. One moment he was there, and next moment he's gone. And you anticipate he'll be back because that's what's always happened so far, but he's not there, so he cannot talk to he can't try and make a conversation with Kirill and then get to Kyle. So someone needs to talk to Kyle, someone needs to talk to Morgan, and then James, remember we talked about in our correspondence how you have that relationship with the Lost Ones, the Thieves Guild that operates operates in Overlook. There is a kind of dirty little halfling guy who just goes by the name Ferret. Ferret is the one who sort of, he says he wants to talk to you again before you leave, because remember, and whether Ember agrees with this or not, but they're saying, look, we're the ones who put you in touch with this the tiefling mage or wizard who trained you. We're the ones who helped you afterwards, so you owe us. You're a mage because we made you a mage. Now, obviously, you can see that as however way you want, but that's what their perspective is right now. Yeah. So we have Ferret, we have Morgan, and we've got Kyle. Who wants to deal with whom?
I guess I will deal with Ferret.
Okay. And you guys don't have to do this on your own either. You can...
well, I think Oberon would definitely speak with Kyle, but he'd also go talk to Morgan with Rackus or whoever else goes.
Okay.
I don't see us sending Xavier to go deal with the consortium by himself.
No, and you guys don't need to do this. You guys can do these collectively too. Like what I'm interested in is just who's going to take the lead, I guess, in each of these things. I think that obviously, Amber, you're going to be the one taking the lead with Ferret. Now, have you let everyone else know about what the Lost Ones want of you?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know what they want of me, but I'm bringing my Minotaur muscle with me.
Okay. So you guys are aware that that basically that situation. So Ember is a mage. She was apprenticed to this elder, much older tiefling mage who, and I think you've picked up from your conversations with her that there was more to their relationship than just master and apprentice. He is dead now, and the Lost Ones are sort of taking the position that Ember owes them for her education.
For the opportunity for the education.
They're taking it that you, that's Ember's position. Their position is that you got it because of them. So you guys, I'm taking it you guys know that as well. So who do you want to meet with first, guys? You want to meet with Kyle, you want to meet with Morgan, or you want to meet with Ferret?
Let's deal with Ferret now. Get the pleasantries out of the way.
Okay. So Ferret is actually located in, well, I think he'll come see you, actually. You won't need to go to Lost One territory. So maybe we'll say it's the same night, and you are meeting Ferret outside of the Pig and Bucket. And as you're, you know, the lot of you are making your way over to get in. Xavier, did you keep that that scale?
I did, yeah.
You did? Okay. So I'm just going to write that down. Okay, so you thanks. You as you're walking in, one sec here. Xavier, you can see that there is a small figure that's sort of trying to lurk in the shadows, unseen, sort of, you know, one building before the Pig and Bucket as you're walking towards it. I don't think any of you, the rest of you guys, spot that.
Okay, I'm going to go check it out.
Okay. You, on your own?
Yeah.
Okay. So you start walking over there. Do you let anyone know what you're doing, or are you just going off?
Yeah, I'm just going to tug on Ember's sleeve.
Okay. So Ember, you look over, and then once he draws your attention to it, why don't you let's get some dice roll. Why don't you give me a perception check, please?
All right. Let's do.
Oh no, sorry, from Ember. You've already seen. There, you've got passive perception. Your passive perception is good enough to have already spotted this.
Okay.
Oh, that sucks.
Oh no, okay, James. You should never have to use dice in this. All you need to do is open up your character sheet.
Yeah, I'm in there.
Go to the stats tab, I think it's called. And go down to your skill and then click on that. Click on perception. There you go. Okay, so that was ass. So
Better than
Yeah,
last
so
one.
you don't.
Like tug on her sleeve and then dart off towards it, like run towards it.
Okay. So Amber, what do you do?
What do you see?
Evidently nothing based on that roll.
Xavier's running at. Well, you don't see anything, Amber, but
Yeah, because Xavier saw it, I'm asking, what did you see?
No, I've already darted off towards it.
Okay, well, I'm trucking it behind him too.
okay. So you
And
go running over.
I'm
And,
nodding to Raxus and Oberon. It's like, come with.
Okay. So you make your way over, and then as you get sort of closer, this Cork, you're maybe about 10 feet away from this guy, and then he steps out of the shadows, and it's the small form that you saw is actually this kind of dirty looking halfling with a loose kind of ponytail. He's got like 5 o'clock shadow on, and he says, "Oh boy, so do you seem eager to go somewhere? Where is it you're heading?" And you know that who this is, Amber. This is obviously Ferret, and you can tell because he gets his name because his eyes seem to be a little too close together, and his nose seems to be a little too pronounced. So he's got kind of a radish kind of look to him, or rodent look at least. Xavier, you're I'm not sure. I don't think you've met this guy before, but he sort of he tries to sort of startle you as he goes out of the shadows.
Okay.
What do you guys do?
I'm just gonna ask him who he is.
I'm someone who needs to talk to your keeper. Isn't that right, Ember?
Hello, Ferret.
Hello, Amber. I hear that you're hitting the road soon.
Yeah, looking for new opportunities. Well's kind of drying up here.
It tends to happen when you, knock shit down a well. And then the Minotaurs sort of walk up at that point. And what are you guys doing? So you've seen this little guy. I'm not sure that either of you guys have met him before.
Yeah. Rakus will probably, Rakus kind of walks up to him, and instead of actually standing like straight on in front of him, we'll flank him to the side and just like get as close behind him as possible, just towering over him.
Okay, that is an easy task with this little guy because he's a halfling. He looks over and he says, "Whoa, Ember, I'm not. Call off your dogs or bulls. I'm not looking for trouble here. I just want to make sure it's Zagan wanted me to make sure that you understood that the debt is still due. Zagan is a name that probably makes your kind of your blood run cold. Zagan is one of the underbosses of the Lost Ones, and he's a tiefling as well. And you have seen him do fucking horrific things growing up. He has his position largely due to brutal enforcement of his strength over anyone who is not as strong. There are some of the Lost Ones who try and win people over through charm and convincing and whatever. He is the one that you turn to when that doesn't work.
Yeah, she was probably attracted to him, but discovered that was a mistake.
Ooh, Ember loves bad boys. So what would you like to do? Or what do you say? Amber?
When does Zagan want me to clear my debt?
Oh, he wants you to make sure that you can earn enough. It will be a time, and of course, there's going to be interest. But he wants to make sure.
So
that
it's coin. It's coin he wants.
Well, you can't very well be doing service from the far ends of the earth, can you? That'll do for when you get back. Until then, he's got a gift for you.
Oh?
He reaches in his back, and he reaches. The way he moves his hand, you think that he was going for a weapon. It's that sort of like quick draw sort of thing. But he pulls out this little package, and Rackus, I think you sort of like, your grip on your battle axe gets a little tighter, or you get maybe, I think your shield's probably strapped in your back right now, and you just have the battle axe out. But he pulls out, and it's just little. It's a kind of oval shaped figure that's sort of wrapped up in sackcloth. And he says, "You'll figure out how to use this. You just every now and then." You give us a little update. You savvy?
All right.
Good happy trails.
We'll be in touch.
And he turns and he makes a pointed effort to kind of give an up and down at Rackus. This is turns and he disappears into the shadows of the alley. Okay, so what do you do?
I want to examine this figure.
Sure. Well, it's actually not a figure. It's when you open up this package, it's just wrapped in sackcloth with some twine around it. Inside is a stone that's about. It's sort of like if you had a fattened teardrop. That's the shape of it. There are some arcane symbols on it. Why don't you give me an Arcana check, please? Let's see if you recognize what this is. Well, James, you may know this already too, but if you don't, if you double click the top of your character sheet, it'll minimize it so you don't have to worry about keep opening it all the time. You can still see the map and then have that. Nice. Okay. So you give this a quick sort of a sensing. You look on it with your magical senses, and this is one of a pair of what are called sending stones. Something you can send messages over a long distance. And
what color
Like
is
a walkie-talkie or kind of a text message?
no, like a walkie-talkie. And it is it's a dull gray colored with and the runes when inactive are just sort of like darkened, carved in. When they are active, they glow with kind of a golden like a golden glow. So you don't need to make any rolls to guess as to where its sister stone is. Mm-hmm. So what do you guys make of this?
I don't know that Rackus pays. I mean, would he recognize or understand what the stones are for?
Rackus has a -1 in Arcana, so your immediate thought, I think, is like, is that worth money, or are they married now? What's going on?
Yeah, Oberon's very similarly Arcana challenged.
Just
so
you know, she didn't actually handle the package. She used Mage Hand to unwrap the thing, look at it. She didn't really want to touch it since it came from Ferret, and she wasn't certain what it was going to be.
Yeah.
And then so the Mage Hand's now tucked it in her backpack.
What does your Mage Hand look like?
I thought it was invisible.
Nope, there's a manifestation of it.
Oh.
I think. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but I could have sworn that there was an obvious like actual like hand, but let me double check. Because I don't want to impose that on you.
No. And if there is, I'm going to make it like a glowing red hand that
Oberon.
A spectral hand lifts it into the air and moves it where you wish. So there is a physical manifestation.
So it can be ghostly, but it's going to have a little bit more of a fire theme.
Sure.
So it look like the waviness, like the heat's radiating off of it. Although it gives off no heat, it just has that appearance, and it's got a red color to it.
Love it. Okay. So, Cork, why don't you give me an Arcana check for Xavier as well, too, please?
Oberon asks Ember,
Nice. So
Xavier
Xavier,
10.
I accidentally rolled that like twice.
that's okay. You rolled the same thing both times. So, so yeah, you're actually able to recognize. Xavier recognizes this as a sending stone as well. Sorry, Jeff, I interrupted you.
Yeah, no problem. Oberon looks down at Ember and says, "Do you actually intend to pay them this debt that they claim you owe?"
I don't fear Ferret, but Zagan, I suspect, is not someone you want to double cross.
Did you want us to go take care of him for you?
And in all honesty, I do owe him for at least pointing out my former master and being able to make that connection. So there is some merit to his claim.
Well, you have Rackus in my protection, but don't expect an extra cut of our pay to cover this debt.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to come to that.
I'm picturing her, turning to Oberon, and her eyes sort of flash with infernal energy.
Xavier like tugs on her sleeve and then whispers something in her ear, and then yeah.
Oh, I think I figured out how to whisper, guys. If you want to whisper to one of the other players, if you hover above their avatar on the top right, it gives you the option of whispering.
Cool.
Oh, except I can't do that to you, Cork, and I cannot do that to. Never mind. It apparently doesn't work. There is. Hold up here. We just logged on.
I'm not actually needing to whisper anything, but I'm just whispering in reply to that comment.
Okay. Okay. So, So you guys, that seems to be dealt with. You guys were heading into the Pig and Bucket, presumably to deal with Kyle and whatever. You guys want to head in there next?
Sure.
Okay. So you guys walk into the Pig and Bucket, and this place is all one level, but it's kind of like to be honest, like a beer hall kind of setup. There's big long tables that are full of people. It's because the festival is going on in the area, in the neighborhood. There is a bunch of even more people than there is normally in here. And it's a incredibly diverse group of people as well too. There are elves and Eladrin and dragonborn and dwarves and humans and half orcs and all sorts of people from all different races, even more exotic ones that you just do not know. And behind the bar is a sturdy-looking guy who is in his probably his late 50s. He's human, and his hair at one point was red, but that's almost all gone gray at this point. And he sort of is giving directions to some of his staff, one of which, of course, is Kiro, the half-elf waitress. She sees you guys come in, and you can let me see here who's got the great. So Oberon and Xavier, you both can see that she sort of, her eyes linger on you guys as if she's looking for someone, and then she sort of a look of disappointment goes across her face when she sees that Halen is not with you. But then she races off to deliver the drinks that she has on her tray. What would you guys like to do?
Kev, I have a question.
Sure.
Would I feel that emotion from her if it's a strong emotion like that?
Yeah, I'll say that if you made a perception check that's good enough, I'll give you a sense of that too. Yeah, there's a little bit of a breeze of sad disappointment when she doesn't see Halen among you.
Right. Okay.
So, because actually, Oberon, your insight is amazing. So that's likely not as good as Xavier. Xavier, your passive insight is a 20, which means that if there's something to pick up from from someone, from like reading, social cues and shit like that, you're gonna know. You've got an uncanny way of recognizing that. Okay, so what do you guys What do you guys do? Is there a sort of ritual here where you have a certain place you like going, or someone goes to get the drinks, or what?
I'm a little more direct. I'll go straight up to Kyle that you were describing.
That's right. And Kyle's at least familiar with you guys. So you walk up. So he looks over and Ember.
Greetings, Kyle. I see business is pretty good.
Can't complain. The festival is always good for all of us. How are you? How do plans work for traveling to Restwell?
It did not go according to plan.
So just a reminder, Urgoz is the place where you went, where things went totally tits up, and sort of everyone knows that. Adventurers
Him too
are remorseless gossips. Yeah, and unfortunately, he'll have heard. He may not. Like, he's not going to rub it in your face, but I think that he knows that you guys were planning to leave to go to Restwell. Because the way you heard about Restwell is likely in this tavern, is talking to other people and them saying, like, you wouldn't believe the riches that people are making out there. Like, they're just hiring people to go and just kill goblins, and you can make a fortune off of that. And there's so many goblins in the Chaos Scar that you can just, it's guaranteed income. You've actually heard that there's a new person who's sort of taking control of Restwell, a paladin of Arathis. Arathis happens to be the god of civilization. So you can imagine why a paladin of a god of civilization would be inclined to sort of stamping out the chaotic, monstrous threats in the area, right? So this guy, the way they make it sound is that this guy's just throwing away good money after bad, trying to bring order to the area, so you can make a fortune there. So that's why I think that he might know what's going on with you guys already. Mm-hmm. Plus, he's also this guy. You've actually, James, give me a diplomacy check for me, or hold on. Yes, diplomacy, please. Nice. Okay. What I wanted to know is sort of how well you've gotten along with him so far, and I think he likes you guys. You've described him as Ember is the one who sort of put the group together. So I think that he sees you as like almost like living vicariously through you, because this guy was an adventurer at one point. So he sort of how do plans go? Are you ready to head out?
Almost. There's still someone we need to talk to, but we was kind of hoping to collect our mail before we leave too. I think that your mail so far has been delivered to your the inn, or not the inn, but the whatever, like, hostel type place you've been staying. But that place is a fucking dive, and you don't want to have them wait. You don't trust the owner there. For when people do like go on sojourns into the wilderness, or they hire on with a merchant caravan, Kyle will sometimes hold sort of packages and so forth for them. So he says, so you've asked, it's not that you're collecting mail from him, it's that you're going to ask him to try and keep it for you. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought we were collecting it. Okay.
So what do you say?
Yeah. If you could watch out, watch out for our mail. Trust where we've been staying.
Yeah, it's kind of, I'm stealing sort of an idea from like kind of Old West stuff, where like you'll just say, look, I'm telling everyone, like anyone who's going to write me anything knows to write to this hotel, right? And then I'll just collect my shit when I go by there. In a pre long distance communication age, that's how you sort of got messages to people.
Because not everyone can have sending stones.
Not everyone can have sending stones, no. So, so he says, well, no, I'm happy to do that for you. That means I trust that you expect to be coming back then.
Yes. Some point.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Tell me, what have you decided the route you're taking? I mean, obviously, you're going to take the Dwarf Road through the West Deep and the Wormsmoke Mountains. But once you get to Drellin's Ferry, where do you plan ahead? Are you taking the southern route or the northern route through along the Elsie River?
I was thinking of taking the northern route along the river.
I thought you might. That's the path that I would take. Well, listen, when you go through Brindle, look up a guy named Walter at the Broken Banner. He's an old friend of mine, and he'll treat you well.
Will do.
Well,
what's his name again?
Walter.
No.
It's a guy
I'm
named
talking to.
Kyle.
The guy talking is Kyle Roster.
I'm gonna ask.
Kyle,
I'm gonna ask him if he's ever seen one of these and show him the little dragon scale.
He looks at it and says, "No, young sir, I haven't. Where did you? Is that off someone's dress or jewelry?"
No, I found it on the street.
Really? Well, how fortunate for you.
All right.
He's kind of treating like a kid who found, like, look what I got. Says, well, will you take your last evening with us then?
We will.
I see the blood hooves. Where's your elven friend?
That's a bit of a story. He's literally disappeared. We have no idea.
I hope he turns up again. If for no other reason than to when Kirill is heartbroken, she is a terrible waitress.
Why is she heartbroken?
He sort of gives you a look. He says, "You."
Oh.
Are you asking as Ember, or do you not?
No. I spoke out of turn.
Oh, okay, yeah. Kirill is the one that Brent said that his character has developed that thing. The way he said Halen has been acting the last little while, like since he came back from his returning to his tribe, is he's really been like communicative with you guys, but really with no one else. So, all right, he says, well then, please grab a seat. I'll have drinks and food brought over for you.
Thank you.
We're not going to track, just as an FYI, we're not going to track necessarily like the
how much we drink.
Yeah, of this shit, because it's just I don't really care, and it's not. There is going to be no night out that is going to significantly put a dent in your your hoard of GP and stuff like that, or hoard of coins, unless I'm saying otherwise. So, okay, so when you guys. Well, I guess first off, what do you guys do then? Are you guys just gonna, take the evening in here or what?
Yeah, probably. But right away when Oberon arrives, what he does is he kind of goes back into the kitchen where he's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
And he's just like, Edders!
This guy turns around and he's got, he's missing one eye. He's got a rag tied around his head, and he's got a stained smock hanging from his shoulders. He looks around. He says, "Oberon, I thought you'd left,
buddy." Not yet.
Yeah. That's great. He comes over and gives you a big hug. He's obviously much smaller than you are.
Yeah.
He says,
"Wait, which is our final night here, Kev? Like 2 nights from now, or
I
3?
think probably tomorrow night is your last night."
Okay, I'll tell him. Tomorrow night's our last night. You got to prepare something special for us.
Do you have a request, or is it going to be chef's choice?
Well, I trust you, Edders, but make sure you got some of that fried hay.
No, I will have that. I'll make sure that we have some clarified butter to cook that in as well.
Beautiful.
Will your brother be there as well?
Oh, definitely.
Terrific. We'll see you tomorrow evening then. Busy night tonight. It's festival.
Yes, of course.
He says,
Well, I'll let you get back to work then, Edders. Don't want
Thank
Kyle
you.
getting mad at me for coming back here.
How could he? You eat too much. So you head out. As a reminder too, Halen has this dog, this sort of stray dog. I think all you guys have picked up that he's been sort of fostering and whatever. When one of you goes outside, I think you probably find it in a nearby alley. It hides because it's a dirty old alley dog, and it's probably subject to more than a few kicks from nasty other adventurers. But it really is taking a shine to Halen. With him missing, do any of you guys want to do anything with that dog, or are you just gonna be happy you don't have to see that mangy thing again?
I would say that Oberon has taken something from the pig and bucket to give to Kitty later. So he, a hunk of meat or something. So he rips a little piece off and he throws it to the dog.
Okay. Rackus, how do you feel about that?
Rackus will look over at Oberon and he'll slap him on the shoulder. He's like, I like that. You're fattening him up so that we can take him along.
Do you guys intend to bring this or try and bring this thing with you, or is it something you're going to kind of like wait till you come back? Just as an FYI, this has like no combat value whatsoever. It would just be at this point an accessory for Halen.
Isn't there a bag of rats thing in 4th edition?
A bag of rats?
Yeah, where if you kill a creature, then your next strike does more damage, or you can do like a cleave kind of thing.
So you bring the dog along so that you can kill it at an opportune time to get a better next attack.
The hand-to-hand version of a warm-up sketch?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's no such thing. What do you think, Ember? Any thoughts on this?
Nope.
Okay. So I think what it is that this will be something that Halen will look forward to coming back to. And maybe if you guys were wanting to spare him a thought in his absence, you may want to mention something to Kirill to sort of, hey, listen, we're going to be gone. So maybe if you could keep tossing shit out until we get back, that will keep that thing alive.
Right.
Okay.
What kind of stuff can you do with brew potion?
At this level, unfortunately, really not fuck all.
All right, I'm not going to brew a potion.
No, that's why I gave you the extra ritual. You'll notice actually you do have alarm because you do have training in Arcana. Okay, so then I guess unless you guys want to do anything else, the evening sort of passes however you want to spend it in this tavern. And we'll flash forward to the next day. When do you guys want to meet with Morgan?
Breakfast.
Breakfast? Okay. He's probably early to rise. Like he's a sort of up and comer in the Ulster Consortium, and to meet with them, you'll be wanting to meet somewhere near the Consortium headquarters, which is, let me see here. Oh, it's in Elftown, which is it's marked as 18 in the on the map. If you take a look at the handout for Overlook,
the dwarfs in Elftown.
So Elftown is a neighborhood with a fairly funny story behind it. Elftown is not where the elves live. It's where at one point one elf lived and became known as Elftown. So the elves, like most of the sort of at least the transient population, like you guys or like merchants or whatnot, would live in Blister because it's just not it's a relatively safe kind of scummy kind of area. Shantytown on the outskirts there at G, that is a really sort of, that's the dregs of the sentient races sort of live there. So early next morning, you head over, and do you think you had a scheduled meeting with Morgan, or do you think that you were just popping in on him?
Well, what is it that we need to do with him exactly?
I think you want to try and smooth things over. Like basically what the goal is to try and convince him that, like, look, if we do a good enough job to sort of clear our name, will you go to bat for us again? Because presently he's sort of on like whatever advancement he had been making in the consortium has likely been affected by the fact that he convinced them to hire you guys on, and then you got 2 of their members killed.
Were these high-ranking members?
No, like relatively inexperienced adventurers like you guys. You wouldn't be hired on for senior officials. These were just 2 guys who were going to check out something. Basically they were low-level bureaucrats who were going to check on a mining operation. When you guys got there, the place was abandoned for some reason, or everyone was missing, and you found that weird arch, which then blew up, killed the 2 merchants, and then tainted you guys with that weird magical curse. You never really figured out whatever happened to the people there.
But isn't that the risk of any adventure, really?
That's the argument you're probably
it's
going to make.
Easy to shift blame.
Yeah, they take sort of the hot potato approach to, you were hired to keep them safe. You did a terrible job of it, and it's completely understandable.
Back. We should never come back.
Disappear. So I think that the way we'll start the scene is with you guys sort of. I think you're going to have to ambush Morgan, because at this point he still doesn't want to see you. You saw him once afterwards, and that involved a lot of shouting. And Oberon, you had to sort of escort Rackus out before he started kicking the shit out of Morgan, because he has some less than flattering things to say about you guys.
Who's got the highest attribute in forgiveness?
So what we're going to do is to get you guys familiar with how skill challenges work. We're going to treat this as a skill challenge. Now, basically, the way I'm going to run skill challenges, guys, is it's a series of dice rolls, and you don't necessarily all need to participate, but the same person cannot use the same skill twice in a row. So if, like, for instance, James has a pretty decent, or Ember, I should say, has a pretty decent diplomacy, she could try using diplomacy to sort of like sweeten them up and like, hey, it's us, la, la, la. But she could not use diplomacy again. Someone else would have to use diplomacy, or she would have to use a different skill before she could use diplomacy again. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay.
You can't use it in a row.
You personally cannot use it in a row. You can use it, like once someone else uses something, or once you use a different skill, you can go back to it. But you just cannot use it twice in a row, personally. Okay. So the scene sort of opens with, we see this pretty well-dressed, clearly urban dwelling dwarf with a leather satchel that seems stuffed with papers. And he's sort of making his way, through this busy morning. And there's he's saying hi to a couple people who are other dwarves who seem to be more important than what he does. And he's walking past this alleyway on his way towards the big clearing not clearing, what do they call it? A big square where the Elsevier Consortium headquarters is. And then he hears sort of a whistle from an alleyway. He looks over, and have all 4 of you guys gone?
I'm thinking about running a scam on this guy.
Your bluff is a +1, so
it's not my bluff. I want to see if there's any other street kids around, and I want to pay one of them to steal his coin purse and run off.
Okay, like before he,
so that we can recover it and get back in his good graces.
What do you guys think of that plan?
Crazy.
Wait, what do you want to do?
I want to pay a street kid to steal his coin purse, and then I'll retrieve it for him and get us back in his good graces.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any way to plausibly return it to him without making it look like we were in it the whole time?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to work. Let's not do that.
Okay, so
Do we see him?
There. So he looks over and he sees this tiefling woman, this little, white-haired, kind of human-looking kid, and 2 massive minotaurs. And his shoulders slump, and he says, "No, no."
Morgan, wait. Hear us out. We just want to talk to you for a little bit.
And he seems like he sort of paused in mid-step, and you can see him kind of like he looks towards the consortium headquarters, and he looks down at the ground. Why don't you make a diplomacy check for me, James, if that's what you want to use as your opening thing? Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa, amazing. Okay, so you fucking crush that. He gets this little like wry kind of grin in his the corner of his mouth, and he looks over and he says, looks around, and he sort of surface or kind of inconspicuously makes his way to the alleyway and steps in, and kind of looking around to make sure he isn't being spotted by anyone. So if I'm seen talking to you lot, I could be. You haven't done enough damage to my reputation yet.
It wasn't our fault. I don't even know fully exactly what happened.
All I know is that 2 of our staff were in your care and you lost them. At least that's what my boss is concerned with.
Rakus will pipe up with, "I would have been glad to have you be in their place instead."
Okay. Do you want to? So, if you want to try and contribute to basically what this is, guys, is you want to make a certain number of successes before you hit a certain number of failures. So, do you want to try and contribute something with one of your skills there, Dave?
That would be an intimidate check, I think.
To be honest, your intimidate is not great. You still make the roll.
Well, that's what I mean. In all honesty, Rakus just hates this guy from the last time they.
I love it. You know what? I'll give you a
roll.
Yeah, Dave, I'll give you a +2 circumstantial bonus to your roll. So if you want to try and use intimidate, I'll give you +2 to whatever the result is. That's funny.
Kev.
Yep.
My mantle of impulsiveness class feature.
Yep.
Is that only during combat?
No. That's is that the thing that gives you bonuses to certain things?
Yeah. If you're within 5 squares of me, you get +2 to endurance or intimidate checks.
Is it or and? And. Sweet. Okay, yeah. So Dave, actually, you'll have +4 to that roll if you want to make it.
Okay, I'll just add that in myself then.
No, we'll just add it into the total. Like, whatever you roll, just click on the bluff on your character sheet, and then we'll add 4 to the result.
Is it bluff or intimidate?
Oh, sorry, intimidate. I have my fucking brain on backwards.
Odd.
Blank.
Nope.
I thought you got +4 to that roll.
He does. It's an 8 in total. So it accurately describes that Rakus Bloodhoof tries to act scary. So you say this, and I guess maybe like you fumble over your words. You're just so angry with this guy that it really comes out as more blustering than anything. He sort of looks up at you and is not particularly impressed. That's the first failure. What would you guys like to do next?
I think Oberon steps in and he says, "What my brother means to say is that we can still be of use to the consortium, and there are many who would fear us."
Okay.
And he sort of flares his corona as he does that.
Okay. So you're trying to be scary kind of here? Or
Yeah,
you're
like
trying to
kind of show intimidation, like not like that he's going to kill this guy, but that they are scary.
Yeah, okay.
Like that they are tough.
Now, I don't think your corona applies to you. I think it's your allies who benefit from that bonus, but you do have a pretty kick-ass intimidate, so why don't you go ahead and make that roll?
Let's see here.
Let's see how that turned out. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you do that, and then there's this flare, and he sort of remembers you from before as the one who calmed down his crazy angry brother. He says, "Look, Ember, you know that I can't give you any further work. You're poison for not just the consortium, but from what I hear from everyone else. Isn't that why you're leaving?"
We're leaving
Yes and no.
to gain back our reputation.
Yeah.
Your reputation.
This incident was not our fault.
We're coming back victorious.
We need some way of fixing this.
Okay. Why don't you give me another diplomacy check then, please? I'll give you +2 because it sounds like everyone's kind of helping you with that as well. Whoa, 21. Holy hell. All right. So he seems definitely...
These are the good rolls. Everything else is going to be junk.
That's not a great roll. That's only an 11.
So he says, it will have to take some impressive feats in order to change the opinion of those, change the minds of those whose minds need changing. I think that you've got great potential. And I believe you that this was just a bad bit of luck, but what am I to do here? So I think that at this point, if someone wants to make maybe an insight check, you may be able to get a sense of how you could try and push him over to your side.
I'm on it.
Okay.
Did it not update?
I didn't see anything.
I haven't seen anything yet, but there it is.
Oh.
Okay, 1301.
That is a terrible roll.
But it's actually good enough, though. Fortunately, his insight is amazing. Okay, so basically, I think what he's looking for is he needs for you guys to come back and not only like redeem yourself, you also need to redeem him in some way. You need to be able to come back as he wants to. He wants you to do something really legendary so that he can say, like, look, this is why these are the people. I was right all along. This was just bad luck. Bad luck on the draw on the first time out. So how do you think you guys want?
You'll see when we turn this around. You're gonna look like a hero.
Okay.
Or at least valuable.
Give me a diplomacy check then, too. I'll give you +2 to it as well, because I think he does a good job on the insight.
All right, here goes.
Ooh, +2 is just enough. He sort of looks at you, and you see he's sort of mulling over. There's this heavy silence that hangs between you guys. And he says, tell you what. Why don't you save a town and kill a dragon? I can sell that to my bosses.
Is that all?
We got to get a sick dragon.
He smiles and he says, Ember, I like your, this is why I like you in your group. If that's all, then I have work to get to and you have preparations to make for travel.
As they're walking away, Oberon says to Rackus, have you ever eaten a dragon?
So as you guys are walking away, then you hear sort of oh, Ember.
Yes.
And he turns and he sort of, motions for you to come over. Or actually, no, he'll run over to you. He doesn't want to be seen with you. He runs over. And he says, look, it's a long journey to where you're going. And he writes out something and he hands it to you. And he says, look, just take this to the outfitting. Take this to the Dungeoneers Emporium. They'll put it on my account. Just this will be something to help you on the travel. It'll help you on the road. You guys stay safe. Come back as legends. And
Thank you very much for giving us this chance.
One sec, guys. So what he's What he's provided you is an invoice to pick up 5 healing poultices. And where is it here? You know, I can keep my mind is like a fucking Etch-a-Sketch when it comes to keeping numbers in my head. Like, I'll look at them and be like, okay, that's the number. And then I'll look away and then look back and I'm like, what was the number again?
It's weird. It's like the phenomenon of when you see someone check their watch nervously in an elevator and then you ask them what time it is and they don't know.
Yeah, it's just, it's like,
again,
some like faces and shit like that. Like I'm really good with numbers. I just fucking struggle with keeping them in my head. Okay, so basically what these are, guys, is herbal poultices are things that you use a standard action before you complete a short rest, and the target of the healing potion regains 2 additional hit points when you spend a healing surge at the end of the short rest. So it's basically a way to sort of juice up the stuff you get from your healing surges when you're taking short rests.
So these are to be used during short rest or not during combat?
No, they're of no value during combat. What they do is just basically for every healing surge that you spend after a short rest, you get 2 extra hit points from it when you use this thing. And I think actually I'll give you 15 of them, not 5.
Makes sense.
So, okay. So if unless there's anything else that you want to see, Dave, I'm not sure if you want to say a last farewell to Petal.
Yeah. Rakus will take that opportunity to get his whistle wet.
It's gonna be a long, hard journey on the road. Okay, so if I guess I should say for those who weren't involved in our email chain, Petal is a half-orc prostitute who works at a brothel called the Silk Purse. She is one of the only women with sufficient or appropriate proportions to accommodate Rakus's frame.
And she's really, really, really popular.
She's also, like, even for a half-orc lady, she's really quite large. Both like tall and fairly, curvy as well too. So you anything special happened from your evening with Petal?
I mean, to be fair, Rakus, he's starting to have feelings for her.
Oh, well, that means
so.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that means for him. I mean, does he think that he's coming back from this?
You're hoping so. I mean, the plan that you guys have is to come back to Overlook at some point.
We only have to kill a dragon
and save a town.
Oh.
You know what? He'll as a token of his affection, he'll leave her one of the skulls that he kind of carries around on his belt, and he'll say to her,
"Nice,
keep this safe for me for when I get
clear,
back."
You guys are savvy enough that I mean, maybe Rakus not, but most of you guys are savvy enough to realize that was sort of sarcastic. Save a town, kill a dragon, and then I can put you in the good graces again.
Maybe he took it literally.
Yeah, he could have very literally, like, okay, we gotta find a town.
Oberon and Rakus totally took it literally.
Okay, nice. Okay, so the last sort of scene we see is sort of a montage of your big last night out, where you guys are saying having a nice big specially prepared Minotaur feast at the Pig and Bucket. Unfortunately, Halen still hasn't appeared, so you guys are going to have to hit the road without him. Now, the problem that'll cause, let me tell you how the travel minigame kind of works. So the way that we're using, the way that we are going to be working travel in this campaign is I'm stealing ideas directly from, from Adventures in Middle Earth, which is a 5th edition D&D version of the One Ring role-playing game, which is a attempt to try to make the Middle Earth role-playing game. So I'm trying to grab. I lost one of my sheets. The travel rules in that are fucking awesome, though, and they make a really great story and whatever out of it. So I've modified them a bit to work for 4th edition. So what this requires, guys, is that there are 4 different tasks or roles that you sort of pick when you're traveling. Someone is going to be the guide. They're the ones who sort of tracking and making sure you're going the right direction and so forth. Someone is going to be the scout, who sort of is keeping an eye out for danger and also setting up the camp. Someone is going to be the hunter, who is going to be making sure everyone's fed, they're foraging and stuff like that to try and make their rations last longer. And someone is going to be the lookout. So I forgot, I misspoke. The scout doesn't do that. Doesn't keep an eye out. They're the ones who are going ahead a bit, keeping out for appropriate places to make camp. And then the lookout is the person who keeps watch.
I'll be the scout.
Well, the way that I actually went through, so let me tell you what the actual skills are that comes up. Because the way that these roles come up is that as we go through the journey, you guys will have certain things will happen. There will be events that occur, and then it will require one of those characters to make a skill roll, and then based on that skill roll, it will dictate sort of what that encounter is and how you're encountering it. So, like, if there are, say, like the encounter that I roll is, a band of a dangerous band of goblins that are like waiting in ambush. Well, then probably that would be the lookout who would be making a skill roll to see whether you spot them or not. Okay, so the skills that are required: the guide needs wisdom and needs nature. The scout needs stealth and perception. The hunter needs nature, and the lookout needs perception. So the way that sort of just looking strictly at where your highest stats are or your skill bonuses, that would suggest that Oberon would be the guide, that Halen would be the scout, that Rackus would be the hunter, and that Xavier would be the lookout. Now the trouble is that you're down your scout. So kind of what that means is that Rackus will probably have to be the scout, and then Ember, you're going to have to... Ember, what's better for you, stealth and perception or nature?
Stealth and perception, because I at least have 2 in stealth.
Okay, so maybe you would be better as the scout and Rackus as the hunter.
Everything else is a 0.
Yeah, I know you're not... Oh, go ahead, Dave.
James, what are your what are your bonuses for stealth and perception?
0 and 2 for stealth.
So Rackus is 3 for stealth and 2 for perception. So might it be better for Rackus to...
Well, the reason I'm going to... Remember I was saying that you guys will have the opportunity to use your background sometimes? Rackus's background is Bloodhoof Clan Exile. I'm thinking that from that you have had to live rough for a time. So I will let you make... I think it's wisdom is your is nature. Yeah, nature is wisdom. You can make a wisdom check with +5 as if you're trained in it. So effectively, you would be trained in that. You would be rolling +5 for your nature checks.
Huh. That's my bonus?
That's your bonus when you're doing the hunting stuff, the hunter stuff.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, because for the other guys. Oberon and Ember and Xavier, their backgrounds are not useful on the traveling, but yours would be. So you could fill that the hunter role and still get a +5. It's as if you're trained in nature.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got 2 +2 bonus in nature.
Sweet. Oh yeah, your nature's +2. Oh great. So this would substitute in. So you would have a +5 instead of a +2.
Excellent.
So to make it easier, actually, we'll just roll nature and we'll add +3 to the result when you have to make those checks. So the other thing that happens, guys, in the course of travel is one of the things that I want to capture in the travel is, like you guys know, I love hiking, I love camping, I love, I make the fucking, 12 and whatever journey to Winnipeg once or twice a year. What I want to capture is the exhaustion that comes from that, like the toll that traveling that long distance takes on you. And I'm stealing this again from One Ring and also some rules from 5th edition D&D to incorporate exhaustion levels. And what these will be is depending on the time of year, because we're going to track the course of the seasons in this as well. Depending on the time of year, you will need to make a number of endurance checks over the course of your travel. And if you fail them, then you will gain levels of exhaustion. You can gain no more, like you're not going to be making, in the course, to give you an example, you're going to only really be making 2, potentially 3 endurance checks in the course of your journey from Overlook to Drellin's Ferry. And I'll ping them in here so you can see where Overlook is here in the West Deep, and Drellin's Ferry is down here. While you guys are traveling, you will also not be able to complete a long rest, which means you're not going to recover healing surges and you're not going to recover daily abilities. So as you're traveling along, you're going to be, bear in mind that whatever you're encountering, whatever you're doing, you're not going to be able to create that long rest until you get to a safe place. In the course of the journey, let's say things go sour. You have a combat encounter that goes really badly, and it's not wise for you to keep on going. What you can do is we'll go into a skill challenge where you're trying to find a safe place to sort of set up and keep yourself safe and be able to complete that long rest. The thing is, it adds time to your travel. It potentially eats into your resources. And also, if the skill challenge doesn't work out, it means you're encountering something else dangerous. So, yeah, for the purpose of this first journey, you're going from Overlook to Drellin's Ferry. Once you get to Drellin's Ferry, then you'll be able to complete a long rest. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. So, the first...
Just for the record,
yeah,
I'm now wishing I had actually taken Tensor's floating disc.
Oh, yeah?
Because I can sit on it and command it to move.
One thing you guys can do is if you either come up with clever ways of of modifying that, like using Tensor's floating disc or whatnot, or if you'll get a +2 to your endurance check for that period. The difficulty of the endurance check will be determined by the terrain you're moving through. So the first leg of your journey through the West Deep and then into the foothills of the Wormsmoke Mountains probably aren't going to be too bad. The trip through the Wormsmoke Mountains is going to be pretty tiring, though. Any of you who have done any hiking in the mountains will know that it's just, even 4 hours of kind of trudging uphill can be fucking exhausting. Never mind carrying around, 60 pounds of gear and shit like that you guys are all carrying. So, is there anything else you want to do before you guys head out? Are you guys ready to depart from Overlook?
Well, I'm assuming we're just going to skip the purchasing travel rations.
Yeah. The travel rations are not going to be a thing in this campaign. It's subsumed in the the rules for travel incorporate the rations and stuff like that. So
we went to the Dungeoneer's Emporium, right, to get our 15 healing potions. Okay, good. Yeah,
and you there's a moment too where the guy who's working at the Dungeoneer's Emporium too, he's this tall, thin human guy. He looks at you and did you guys, is the name of the adventuring group the Silver Hoofs?
Silver Horns.
Silver Horns. Okay, so he you guys go in and you submit that to him, and he looks at it. He looks at you. He looks at it. He looks at you. He says, there's it's a pretty severe penalty for trying to pass forgeries in against the Elsyr Consortium.
This is not a forgery.
He sort of sees that you're, the sort of, flames sort of lick behind your eyes, and he sort of raises, kind of gives that like, whatever, it's not my fucking problem, sort of look, and he heads in the back, collects the poultices for you. They're all stored in this like hermetically sort of folded over wax paper, so that it will survive travel. Okay, so let's the first thing we're gonna do, guys, is let's see what the embarkation.
Hey, Kev.
There are 3 stages to every journey. There's the embarkation, there's the journey itself with the events, and then there is the arrival. So let's roll. Would someone kindly
Kev,
roll? Yes, sir.
before we leave, Rackus will grab Oberon and he'll say to him, "Let's go see Eater one last time. I think he can pack us a lunch to go."
Okay.
Did we? Is this all the same day? That we met?
You had 2 days. What were you hoping to do?
No. I'm just didn't know if this was the same day that we talked to Mogan.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna say, Kev, Kitty, like while we're in a place like Overlook, is like living in the woods nearby the city. But as we like leave on our journey, she will join us on our travels.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so she's there's an empathic connection there. So Kitty becomes, is that what her name is?
Yeah, so far.
Yeah. Okay.
What's Kitty?
Kitty is a cougar. An endless plains cougar.
Are we talking about another prostitute or an animal?
An animal. If you try and sleep with my cougar, I should not take that too lightly.
This really trashy looking woman comes snagging.
The really old minotaur comes stumbling out of the woods.
One strap of her dress is off of her shoulder. She's smoking a cigarette.
Yeah. Rackus,
I'll scratch behind.
Let's go.
Ears.
Covered in scabs.
Yeah. And she's got a gold, like this chintzy gold necklace on that spells out the name Kitty. So, who
She
would
doesn't
like
wear
to?
it around her neck either.
Okay, guys, this is the embarkation roll. Who would like to do the honors and roll a d12 for me, please?
Sure.
I'll do it.
Okay, so let's click on / roll d12. Okay. Well, guys, this morning brings a beautiful sunrise that raises spirits and fills all who see it with hope for the day ahead. When rain falls, it's cooling and soothing to the weary traveler. The wind seems to be no more than a light breeze. So, oh hell, guys, as a result, each member of the company may ignore the first level of exhaustion they get.
Later?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's an auspicious start to your journey. So I've got some visual aids to give you guys a sense of what traveling through the region is going to be like. Now, I don't have one for the West Deep, but the West Deep is thick, old, deciduous trees. So things like oaks and elms. But the Dwarf Road is something that dates back to the Age of Change. So like this, this road, the stones that are in it were likely worn smooth before some of your ancestors ever made, a civilization. So the initial leg of travel through the West Deep is not terribly consequential. You're running into a couple of traveling merchants as you're close to Overlook, and then the road truly stretches out ahead of you. What I'd like you guys to do is for everyone to give me, fortunately you will be able to ignore the first levels of this. Everyone give me an endurance check, please.
I'm just grabbing my sushi.
Yeah, sure, Cork. Well, you can do yours afterwards. Amber, nice job.
What are we rolling? Endurance?
Just endurance, please. Yeah.
The rolls must be good because Brent's not here.
Well, he usually monopolizes the crap rolls. The only time he rolls really well is when nat 1 for Rackus. Holy shit. Okay, so Oberon and
Oberon.
Oberon and Rackus, you're glad you had that auspicious start because you guys do get to ignore those are failures, and you get to ignore the first level of exhaustion.
Are you guys not trained in endurance?
Yeah, we roll a 1 and a 2 respectively.
Yeah, no, they're pretty good. They're pretty well trained in it. And we'll wait and see what Xavier rules when he gets back. But yeah, the first little bit is it's.
Wait. So are we exhausted, but we don't feel it, or do we not get a level of exhaustion?
You do not get it at all, so you can ignore the first. Sorry, I should have said that more clearly. Yeah, you choose to ignore that. You don't get the first level of exhaustion you roll.
Right.
So
there's a difference from going from not getting one and then getting one, or going straight to
for sure, yeah. Yeah, because just so you know, so the levels of exhaustion while course getting his food, level 1, you get -2 on your ability checks, and that includes skill checks. Level 2, your speed is halved. Level 3, you have -2 on attack rolls and saving throws, and these are they build up as well. Level 4, your hit point max is halved, and your bloodied value so basically your hit points go down to your bloodied value. Your bloody value is half, and your healing surges stay the same. So you get injured much more easily. And then at level 5, your speed is reduced to 0. You're looking at going over, and if it goes down to a 6, you die. So that's why it's important to try and avoid. Oh, one thing I was going to say too. Shoot, I mentioned about the clever ideas will give you a +2. Those of you who are better with exhaustion. Or with endurance, you guys can take a -2 to your roll to give a -2 to someone else if you want to.
Give a -2?
Yeah, so like someone who is trained, like the guys, Rackus has a +8, Oberon's got a +7, Xavier's got a +6. If they want to take a -2 to their roll, they could give a +2 to someone else. It's it's that scene of someone helping the less physically fit or physically able someone along, shouldering their burden.
Now, Kev, again, I have the same thing here. I have this mantle around me that grants +2 to endurance and intimidate checks.
You do.
If they stay within 5 squares of me.
Yeah, something's
just traveling. Do you want to say that as long as they spent most of the day close to Oberon, it would take effect?
Absolutely. You're because it's 25 feet, and I mean, like, you guys aren't traveling crazy spread out, and the limited length of time that the scout will be heading out ahead. I'm not too fussed with rigorously imposing that.
Okay. Well, then if the line is 10, then Rackus actually made his roll.
No, the difficulty is actually 12.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he unfortunately failed as well, but not too. And also Rackus rolled a nat 1. Nat 1's always a fail.
That's true.
Yeah. So okay. So that's your trip through. Cork, are you back?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Cool. Can you make a endurance check for me? Oh, you did. I'm sorry. You did 12. Yeah, awesome. So you're not. Even though you and this is probably the first time you've been outside the city. So the first 6 days of travel, guys, takes you to about here, about near the foothills of the Wormsmoke Mountains, and what you see is, let me share this with you guys. So this is what the Wormsmoke foothills are like. There you go, guys. Take a look.
Nice.
So this is what you see sweeping up above you as you are making your way in. Now, I think that I'm not even sure that Oberon and Rackus have been through the Wormsmoke either. Only because the Endless Plains is sort of it's directly north of sort of the West Deep. So if you guys came to Overlook, you could have easily just come straight down without having to go through those mountains.
Right.
So these are pretty impressive. I'm not sure any of you guys have traveled through anything like this before. You're about a day away, still in the foothills, when the day's running late. And who's the scout? Scout is you. James, would you give me a perception check, please? Let me go back here. Boom. Ooh, okay. this is where having Halen around is helpful because he gives you a +1 or +2 to your perception checks. So what's happened is you're having a hard time trying to find a campsite to the point where like you guys are still traveling along the road when it's well into dusk. There's not the same crush of trees that there was in the West Deep as you were traveling through that, but there's enough that when you're passing through a region that has a copse of trees on one side, it's really fucking dark. You know, it's like when you're camping and it's dusk, and it seems like harder to see shit than even when it's night.
You're saying we can't find a campground that's open, or
you haven't found? Well, even at like a place, you're not. There's not like campgrounds per se, but like even a safe area to sort of like, okay, let's just hunker down here. This will be a place that will be safe and dry and whatnot for us to camp. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to open this up to the party now. Can everyone make perception checks for me, please?
Me too again?
You two again. Yep, that's fine.
Bugger.
Amber's like, ooh, Oberon, nice.
I'm good in the city. I'm not good out in the wilderness.
No, this is you're sort of the stereotypical girlfriend in the woods. You know. Okay, so again, I'm not saying there's any validity to that whatsoever. That's just the 80s stereotype. So as you guys are making along, Oberon, you actually. You think you see something up ahead? Is that a campfire? There's a little flickering flame that seems to be poking through another copse of trees a little further ahead and off to the left. Do you point that out to everyone?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so once he points it out, it's obvious to you guys. It's getting quite dark in the east, and yeah, there's a flickering kind of what you would think would be a campfire. A little further up, you can see it. It's between the trees. You're seeing this light sort of flickering. But what do you guys do?
Rakus will tell the party that that dusk is the time when the best game comes out. So if they want to eat, he's gonna head off and do some hunting.
You have no low light vision, and the predators that may be out. I'm just saying this because you would know this. The predators that may be out there are likely going to have better perception. So things like displacer beasts, or wolves, or goblins, or whatever. It's not wise for you to be blundering around in the dark. Trying to hunt them. That's hunting in the dark when you don't have any kind of night vision or low light vision or anything like that is a really dangerous endeavor.
All right. Well, then he won't do that.
Yeah, sorry. Just that I want to give you the fair dues. I mean, if you still want to do that, if he still believes that, that's fine. I just want to make sure that you, as the player, are aware that you can't see any more than what you or or I could see in that in those circumstances.
Could I go with him, be his eyes?
You could, but I mean, the bigger concern right now, guys, is that you got nowhere to sleep. Okay. If you don't find a campsite, you guys are all going to have to make endurance checks again because you're not going to get a proper night's sleep.
Well, the way that Rakus figures it is as soon as he saw the campfire, he automatically equated that with campsite, and whether or not we take the campsite by force, or they're collegial enough to let us share it, is of no importance to him. One way or another, we've got the campsite already.
Okay. What do you guys think of that?
Someone needs to at least sneak up and gauge.
See how many people are there, and what
do we want to share that campsite?
Right.
Or
take it.
Is it worth? Well, no. Can it be taken? Who's there?
Right.
All right. Well, let's find out then. Rackus actually like peels off towards the campsite.
Okay. So, what I'd like you to do then is anyone else going with Rackus?
Well, Oberon follows behind him, but like at enough of a distance that he's not using stealth. Like he's not trying to be sneaky. He's just trying to be somewhere where he can keep an eye on him.
Okay. I think what I'm going to require. Oof. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, James. What were you saying?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Oberon as well.
Okay. And how about you, Xavier?
Yeah, follow suit.
Okay. So I think what I need is I'll need stealth checks from Ember, Xavier, and Rackus, and I'd like a perception check from Oberon, please. So, like seconds after you guys step off the road, Xavier and Ember get their robes caught up in brambles and start cursing it out. Rackus, you did pretty well. Oh, that was a perception check. Wow, Rackus did fucking amazing. Okay, so what's going to happen is
the bulls in a china shop can be sneaky.
So more of you. Well, he is a plains hunter. Like Dave's not wrong about that. He's like pretty much disappears into the woods, which leaves you guys, Xavier and Ember, to sort of not seeing what's happening, and you stumble over something, and you start getting caught up in things, and you're making noise. Oberon, you can perfectly see all of this happen. You can see exactly where Rackus is going. Rackus, you actually sort of angle yourself around to try and flank these, like from the far side of the campsite. But basically, the ruckus that Xavier and Ember make is enough to alert the campsite, and you hear a voice. Actually, I think Rackus, you get up there close enough to hear this, and you can hear some voices saying, "What was that? Get your gear! Get your gear! Be prepared." They are speaking common, and it is a mix of men and women speaking. With that roll, Dave, you could easily sneak in close enough to get a peek at who's in there, if you want.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, the first thing that Rackus will want to determine is whether they're fighters, what they have for weapons, kind of assess their ability to kind of mount an attack and their ability to defend.
Okay, so you guys make your way. So you look up, and what you see, you sort of go in, and we can sort of see like what color are your eyes? Incidentally, are they big, like black, like cow eyes, or?
No, you know what? Because the rest of them is black, we'll make them red.
Love it. Okay, so we see your red eyes with those black pupils, and they're sort of big, massive saucers, almost filling the whole orb because of the darkness. You get in, and you start looking around, and what you see is that there are 5 figures that are in there. There is a woman who is dressed in like scale armor with a sword at her side, who seems to be giving directions to the other 4 people. One is a sturdy-looking dwarf who has a symbol around his neck. Are you trained in religion at all? I don't think so, eh?
No, I'm actually a -1.
-1. So it's a symbol of one of the faiths of like the civilized. You probably saw it in one of the churches, but you don't know what church it actually represents. But he's there too, and he's got a big hammer and shield that he's sort of picking up and getting ready. He's dressed in chainmail armor, similar to what Oberon is wearing. There is an elf as well with sandy blonde hair who has picked up a bow and is looking around. He worries you the most because elves are known for their keen eyes. There is also a woman who is dressed in long robes, sort of similar to what Ember wears, wielding and she stands up and picks up a wand. And you see there's a big book at her side, so you think she's likely some kind of spellcaster of some kind. And then there's a tiny figure that you think is a child, like Xavier. And then a little shorter though. And then you realize that this thing has actually very long or kind of angular, like almond-shaped eyes with almost fully black, and pointed ears. This is of course a gnome, and this gnome he hops up. And he's got a little raccoon that's sort of curled around his neck, and he's got a bunch of knives on, and he picks up this short bow, and he sort of crouches down low, and they're sort of studying the woods. You can hear the sort of noise that Xavier and Ember are making as well too, and you're sort of shaking your head, and the woman, human woman dressed in armor, says to the gnome, says something, and then the gnome sort of turns and walks out of the circle of light from the campfire, and then it disappears from your view. What are you doing? So what are all of you doing? Ember and Xavier stumbling your way towards this camp. Rackus, you're really the only one who has an opportunity to react to what they're doing. What are you doing?
You know what? Rackus will set up a distraction in the opposing direction. So he'll actually move away from the camp.
Okay, guys, I'm just going to back you up from the incessant bloodlust here just for a moment. This is you from what you're seeing, Rackus. This is an adventuring group. Unless you guys want to get a reputation of being bushwhacking murderers, it's not likely going to help your reputation to murder every other adventuring party you come across. These guys may be nasty, they may be dangerous, but they may be just like you. This isn't to give you proper context to this. This is not a group of a race that is obviously a dangerous race like orcs are. They're not cannibals in the sense they eat their own, but they eat other living sentients. Goblins and hobgoblins are, they will kidnap and torture and murder other sentients. This also could just be a bunch of merchants traveling. They don't have any goods.
And they might lump the two of you into that group. Minotaurs are not usually, I guess.
No,
I think.
Depending on whether they are corrupted by what's his name? Not Bahamut. What? Baphomet. Thank you. Then they can be seen as monsters as well. So I'm not saying you can't do that. I just want to make sure you guys have the proper context for how this works in the world.
They are travelers just like us. We don't need to treat them as hostile.
Right, and the whole point of creating the distraction was to get them away from their camp so that they didn't sneak up on my party first.
Got it. Okay, that's totally fair. Okay, so you're going to try and create a distraction, you think?
Yeah, basically,
Sure.
In the opposing direction from whence my group is coming from. So it kind of draws them away. My party gets to the camp first and kind of has a chance to. If Xavier and Ember are fumbling around, I don't want them to get caught flat-footed.
Sure. Okay. So here's I'm not going to keep prompting you guys with these because I just want to give you an idea of what you can do with them. But Dave, for instance, what you could improv with your background then as a step, whatever it was, a Bloodhoof clan exile, is maybe what dangerous predator sounds can sort of sound like. So you might be able to try and make a bluff check, but instead of using your +0, you could get +5 to that roll because of your background.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, cool. So I'll let you maintain the stealth roll because that was awesome. So you sneak your way to. I'm picturing sort of like the far side, like where your allies are not.
Yeah, exactly. So if he's flanked to the right or left side of the camp, he'll just kind of continue farther in the direction that he was originally traveling to put him past the camp.
Love it.
So they kind of think that they're the direction that they originally thought the sound was coming from. If they choose to pay heed to that, that's fine. But now there's something else in the opposing direction.
Okay.
Okay.
What do they hear then? Give me a bluff check, and then what do they hear?
What would some of the native animals be to this? Or
In the endless plain, things you would have encountered: displacer beasts, for sure. What else? Maybe drakes. Oh, gosh, what other magical things would be out there? Not owl bears. Manticores, yeah, manticores, possibly wyverns.
Okay. Let's go with a manticore.
Awesome. Okay, so let's make a. Oh, your stealth check. Give me a bluff check, and we'll add 5 to the result.
Okay.
Okay, so it's an 11. So it's not a super convincing one, but remember, okay, so you guys have action points. Your action points can be spent to gain an extra action. You can also use them to re-roll something. You can also use them to add something to a scene. You can also use them to add a dice to your damage for effect for when you're doing things. The thing is, you have to go through 2 encounters before you gain another action point. So
Okay.
I'm not suggesting, I just want to make, this is an opportunity where you might want to re-roll, but I want you to know when you're getting your action point back.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'll take the action point.
Okay, go ahead, give it a go.
Or actually, instead of re-rolling, can I just add a certain value to the?
Yes, you can. Yeah. You can add D6.
Would that theoretically at its max be
11. Actually, to be honest, you know what? All you need is a 12. So like the lowest you would roll on that would give you a success.
Okay.
Yeah. So okay, great. So you don't have it. If you go in your character sheet, there's a way of tracking action points in there.
Yep.
So you guys should all have 1, but you'll have none right now.
Yeah, I just changed it.
So then, awesome, Dave. Give us your best Manticore impression.
I don't. What does a manticore sound like, Kev?
I have no idea.
Oh.
You tell us. What is a Manticore? I think. Okay, so a Manticore is a horrible kind of. It's like a man-faced lion with bristles and a giant sort of scorpion tail and bat-like wings. That is what a Manticore is.
Didn't it have the goat head?
No, you're thinking of the
Chimera.
Chimera.
Yeah.
And the Chimera has 3 heads, so it sounds like 3 different things. This is what a Manticore looks like, Dave. Let me hold it up for you.
Oh yeah, that's sexy.
Mm-hmm. So probably sounds, I think, halfway between a roar and halfway between a scream. You can do a quiet version of that if you don't want to wake up everyone in your house.
Probably goes something like.
Love it. Well done. Okay, so yeah, so then you can hear, I think as soon as you do that, you sort of like hunker back down and listen again. And you hear the whispering again in the camp. So at this point, Xavier and Ember, I think I'd like you guys to make perception checks for me. Let's see if you've noticed that something's going on here. Ember,
I noticed it's night.
Ember knows. It's just so caught up in this fucking bramble. Xavier, unfortunately, I think you're likewise distracted. Like this is, you guys have been traveling pretty well, but as soon as he's above the road, things have just gone, like the wheels have come off and whatever. Oberon, you're seeing this happen. What are you doing?
Would Oberon know what is going on? Like, I mean, he would know enough from his brother to know that like this is obviously not a real manticore.
I think as soon as you hear that, Oberon, you think that, okay, something's going on.
Wouldn't they be alarmed if they thought a minotaur was out there making manticore noises?
Oberon starts making his way towards the camp.
Okay, so you start making your way towards the camp, and I think at that point, Xavier and Ember, you hear a voice from somewhere in the darkness around you say, "All right, that's far enough.
Uh-oh.
You stop where you are unless you want to get riddled with arrows." It's a common tongue that's got a bit of an accent to it. What do you guys do?
I'm going to stop and just like put my staff into a resting position and just kind of stand up out of the bushes.
Okay. Amber, what are you doing?
I'm lighting up the cantrip light so I can see a little bit better.
What are you casting that on? Remember, it has to be cast on something. Could just be the tip of your staff.
Yeah, just the end of my staff.
Okay, so you flash the staff. You hear a chuckle from the darkness surroundings. Remember, it only has, I think, like a 20-foot radius. And you hear this sort of chuckle, and this is that just helps mark the target. What are you doing here? Oberon, you see this happen as well. You don't see the this figure, but I think you've moved up close enough so you can hear what's happening, and you see obviously Ember, lights her staff off.
We are travelers on the road, and we've been having a difficult time trying to find a place to camp for the evening.
Where are you traveling from?
Overlook? Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Yeah, Overlook.
Is there, I count 3, are there more of you?
Yes, there's one more of us.
Is that he sort of nods. Oh, yeah, you can't see him nod. He says, is that the one making the calls?
Yes.
Well,
we had to approach your campsite with caution.
That's understandable, given the so that's understandable and a precaution anyone would take. What's your name?
I am Ember, and you are.
I'm Madrick, and we are the Free Riders. Now, you small one. What's your name?
Xavier.
And the big man in the back there. I'm assuming you're a man.
I am not a man. In fact, I am a Minotaur, and my name is Oberon.
Oberon. Let's go to the road, and we can go into the campsite the easier way. It looks like that might be best for at least 2 of you. And you hear chuckling again from the darkness, and he sort of, you hear a rustling. He's no longer trying to be silent, moving away. Mm-hmm. So with the light out, you're having a little bit better of a time. Rackus, I think what's happening right now is you're sort of keeping your eye out, and then you see this basically flare go off on the far side of the woods. And I think you sort of wait for some kind of noise afterwards to see if it's a spell or of some kind, and then you recognize it's probably that a trick that you've seen Ember do before.
Okay.
So you see that light go off. What do you do?
You know what? I'll try to stealth back around to get because obviously no one's come for my call, so
yeah,
that's where the action is.
Okay.
He'll go back to the group, but under staying undercover.
Sure. What I foresee happening is that you guys sort of make your way sort of back to the road. You meet this little gnome, and he says, "All right." He calls out back to his campsite and says, "There's 3 of them. There's one more in the woods. They say they mean no harm. I'm bringing him in." So you guys walk in, and the 3 of you who were stuck in the woods there, or stuck in the brambles and whatever, you walk in and see the same people that I described to Dave. They're still a little bit on, as you're walking in, they're still a little bit on edge. I mean, the only one among you who doesn't look incredibly threatening, I guess, just at first glance, is obviously Xavier. Oberon, once you're sort of walking in, are you calling out to Rackus at all, or are you gonna just sort of?
Yeah, wait? He would call out to Rackus.
Okay, so Rackus,
I'm going to cradle my staff. I'm going to cradle my staff in the crook of my arms, so I look a little less threatening, not like I can cast right away.
Sure. Okay. Is there like a symbol that your tribe used, Oberon and Rackus, to sort of like, the all clear sort of thing?
No, I think he just calls out to him.
Okay.
Rackus, get over here.
I believe the symbol was a manticore call.
Nobody bought that stupid manticore call.
Rackus lumbers into the camp and he's like, there are manticores out there. Did you guys hear them?
The dwarf who's sort of tapping his his hammer in his hand says, "Yes, we did." The woman in armor steps forward and she says, "Greetings. My name is Megan Swiftblade. I am the leader of the Free Riders. These are," she points to the dwarf. "This is Ragnum Dowerstone," and he kind of nods. Points to the elf. "This is Silent Leaf Runner." He nods. Points to the woman who's a woman, kind of a dressed like a wizard. Says, "This is Gaina Tenson." She sort of like slowly nods her head towards you, still eyeing you with suspicion. And I take it you've met Madrick. Who are you, and where are you going?
I am Ember.
And collectively, we are the Silver Horns.
Where are we going again? Brindle?
You're going to Restwell. You're going to Brindle, but that's on the way to Restwell Keep.
Right. We're heading to Restwell Keep.
You've got some distance to travel then. Where are you traveling from?
Overlook.
Overlook. That's actually where we're headed. Is there no work there any longer? We'd heard that there was opportunities.
None for us.
There's people that talk shit about people.
I'm not certain which is
It's totally funny.
the gnomes. Actually, I guess it's the dwarf Ragnum. He says, "I'm not sure what's worse, gossip, old women or adventurers." Megan says, "It's dark and we have ample space. If you wish to share our fire for the evening, we'd be welcome to have your company."
That would be much appreciated. Thank you.
What's for dinner?
The dwarf pipes up, "Stew." And you can smell it actually. As again, there's a big like black iron pot that's sort of bubbling away in the stove. And Megan says, "And I'm certain that we can, if we certainly we can make it stretch it for two. We've been fortunate as we came out of the out of the worm smoke. Silent was fortunate to catch a mountain goat, and he seems Silent seems a little put out, or not put out, but he seems a little embarrassed by the attention. So Megan says, "Please," and she gestures to have a seat, and she says, "With 9 eyes, the watch will be even more forgiving. Perhaps we'll all get an even better night's sleep." So as you guys sit down, you find out that the Free Riders are actually from further to the east. They formed up about 6 months ago at a place called Elsir's Crossing, which is it on the map here? Yeah, just to the east of Brindle. You may be passing through it on your way to Restwell Keep. So they formed there, and they obviously when adventurers get together, it's like anyone in a shared profession. You start trading war stories, right? And they tell you about that they left the community and headed east in this town called Beacon, where they dealt with a cabal of cultists. They came back to Brindle for a time, and they in Brindle. Well, actually, I guess Megan probably says, like, what? Tell me, what have you traveled out east before?
No, this is the first time for any of us.
Yeah.
Actually, would Rakus have been out that way?
We're from the west, I thought.
You guys from the north, actually. If you see in the top of the map there's the first little bit of the Endless Plains.
Yeah.
The Endless Plains are kind of like a wild steppe that goes out for hundreds of miles to the north. And that's sort of where you guys lived beforehand.
Okay.
Yeah, so you guys are well-traveled up north, but not necessarily down in civilized lands.
I've never stepped foot out of Overlook.
Overlook.
Obviously. Overlook.
Yeah, so she says, well, then tell me, are you have you heard the story of the Horde of the Red Hand? You guys can make history checks for me if you like. Amber did good. Whoa, Xavier. Hell yeah. Whoa, Rakus. You've actually heard about this too. Shit. Okay. So yeah, actually, you know what? You guys have heard about this. So about 20 years ago, there was this like incredibly large predominantly goblinoid horde that sort of rallied under this this guy whose name was where is it here? Who escapes me? I'll fill it in for you afterwards. Basically, what happened is that about 20 years ago, there was this massive horde that sort of accumulated in that formed in the Wormsmoke Mountains, supposedly run by a hobgoblin that had dragon's blood in him. And this guy managed to forge all the various disparate clans of hobgoblins together, as well as a bunch of giants and ogres, and even maybe some trolls too. And they marched down intent on just raising the Elsir Vale. Thanks to the, and they called themselves the Red Claw, or sorry, the Horde of the Red Hand. And the reason they adopted the Red Claw as their sigil was because the leader of the Red Hand, he was a worshiper of Tiamat, of the Dragon Queen, the Chaos Queen. Her symbol, or one of her symbols at least, is a red claw. Well, this horde, while it did do significant damage to Drellin's Ferry, to a bunch of the smaller communities, thanks to the quick thinking of some adventurers, a group called the Diamond League, they actually destroyed this massive bridge at a place called Skull Gorge, which I'm going to ping on the map here for you guys, is about here. They destroyed this massive thing to delay them. It gave the cities enough time to sort of rally some sort of defense. And then finally, when they besieged Brindle, the Horde of the Red Hand seemed to suddenly just start fighting amongst themselves, thanks to the efforts of this adventuring group. The reason it's important is, I mean, the war against the Red Hand is something that sort of is a clear, very recent memory for many people living in the eastern part of the Elsir Vale. And also, it's said that there are goblins that are trying to sort of recapture that claim. The trouble is that, you know, there's been merchants who say they've been attacked by hobgoblins or goblins or other, you know, goblinoid types that they say are bearing the mark of the Red Hand, but there's not enough of a presence that, or at least no one wants to pay to see these things investigated. So after trying to chase down some potential employers in Brindle, they just decided to head out east, or out west, I should say. Overlook, you know, once every 100 years, there is inevitably a horde orcs that that come pouring across or try to pour across the mountains, and that always results in lots of opportunities for adventurers. There isn't anything like that at present, but every summer there's always the start of summer where there's rumors of scouts coming back from across the mountains from near Bodrin's Watch that are saying that the orc hordes are coming, and that leads to at the very least more merchants hiring people to provide escort duty for people heading out west over the mountains. So that's where they're going. If you're heading out, so you're intent on going all the way to Restwell Keep.
Yes. Yeah.
I've heard there's opportunities out there, and you can see that Megan says that. Well, we had heard those opportunities as well, but we decided on that Overlook would be the better option. And you can see that Ragnum is just sort of like muttering to himself under his breath. Clearly, he was the one who voted for Restwell Keep as well. And he's kind of giving her this look of like, see, I fucking told you, but yeah, that's sort of what they have to share. Is there anything you guys share with them, or anything you want to know about them?
Maybe how they came to be a party together.
Like I said, about 6 months ago, they formed in a place called Elser Crossing. And the thing I neglected to mention, Cork, I think you picked this up. While these people clearly seem very happy to see you guys, like more so than what you would expect from sort of travelers on the road, or even more so, I suppose, there's still a bit of melancholy amongst them. And I think, Oberon, why don't you make an insight? No, you got to fit 16 in passive insight. You pick this up as well. There's a little bit of sadness that's tinged with this as well.
Mm.
I wonder what happened.
Oberon asked him if something harrowing happened on this journey.
As soon as you say that, they all sort of go quiet, and all you can hear is sort of the crackling of the campfire, and the swaying of the trees. And Gaina, the wizard woman, looks at you and says, "Why would you ask that?" Kind of, and she's again, sort of like cocking an eyebrow, trying to figure out, what do you know?
Oberon says, I am, what do you call it, an ardent?
An art. Well, you can describe it however you want.
Or would you just say that he's psychic,
You could say that you're,
I'm attuned to the psychic emotions of those around me, and I feel a heavy burden on you and your fellow travelers.
They all sort of look at each other, and they look to, I guess, then to Megan, and Megan sort of takes a hard swallow, and she says, you are perceptive, Oberon. When we set out from Brindle, there were 6 of us, not 5. Just north of Skull Gorge, we were set upon by goblin ambushers, and one of our companions, Benji Frankfoot, a halfling, he fell and then Ragnum sort of starts spitting out in anger, "They took him! They took him!" And you can tell that there's just a lot of anger. You can pick this up, Oberon, and Xavier, I think you can sense this as well too. There's a lot of self-recrimination that is waving, quite palpably from these guys. They're clearly blaming themselves for not, for something they didn't do. You would guess from the sounds of things, obviously they didn't go after his body.
Right.
So it says if your path takes you across the mountains, which if you're following the dwarf road, it will. You need to take care. We drove them off, but not without paying a very dear cost, and there were too many for us to pursue them, even to recover our friend for proper rights.
We will heed your warning.
Indeed, that is a sad story.
Well, and at that Madrick sort of laughs and says, "You know, this is when Benji would have played a song." And they all sort of, get this wistful kind of smiles on their faces, and unless you guys say anything, there's just a heavy silence that falls over. And again, you just sort of are all staring at the crackling campfire. Apart from Silent, who's keeping watch for you guys. Anything else you guys want to talk about before you hit the sack?
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay, so then I think after that revelation, probably things, the free riders start saying they're gonna turn in. And what they'll do is one of each team or one from each team will take turns sort of doing group watch together. Because, nice as everyone may seem, no one's willing to trust the other that they're not going to slit their throats in sleep, right? But the night otherwise passes uneventfully. So in the morning, you guys have a shared breakfast as well. It's much less chatty, I guess, than what the meal was before. And they seem eager to hit the road. But as you are getting ready to leave, Xavier, the elf, who actually has said nothing for pretty much the entire the entire evening, he's just been keeping watch out and whatever. He pulls you, sort of puts his hand on your shoulder, and as you look up and your gold eyes looking into his dark brown eyes, he says, "Take care. The mountains," and he sort of nods his head towards the Warm Smoke Mountains. He says, "They take a heavy toll."
Okay.
And with that, you guys break apart, and you guys head west, and then they head east. Which of you guys do you think spares the last look over your shoulder to see them disappearing in the distance?
Me.
You? Okay, cool. All right, so now what I need from you guys is another endurance check, please. And this one's going to have a higher difficulty than ever because you are heading into the mountains now. This will be the next sort of leg of the journey. Okay, what we got here? Xavier, you got your first failure. But I think you succeeded in the last one, so you can ignore that failure. Number, what is the difficulty number? Okay, so we got Amber, thanks to Oberon's boost, you succeed. Rackus, you actually fail. Oberon, you succeed. So let me show you what you are hiking through so you understand what
City Girl did her stretches.
Yeah. Here you go, guys. Boom. This is what your path looks like.
Cool.
So this is the path. It is so even in the height of summer, as soon as you get to you can see through the gap in the stones there, like that would be you looking down for where you came. And there is nothing but packed snow and blowing winds, like winds that just will not fucking stop. And seemingly unending peaks to or even in the gaps between seemingly unending sort of rolling things. So, Dave, you've accumulated 1 level of exhaustion, which means you've got -2 to your ability checks. Let me track that. Where's my tracking sheet? Here we go. Can I mention how
Oberon?
Oh, go ahead.
Oberon notices the exhaustion on Rakis, and he pats his brother on the shoulder, and he says, "You've been living the good life in the city too long, brother." Pedal has made you soft.
Rakis, I think you have like you guys obviously live in the steppes. You know wind, but you've never known wind like this.
Is it a natural wind?
It should give me an Arcana check. Oops, sorry, I can't see the result. There's it's not like someone is trying to cast a spell on you, but there is an ill presence, I suppose, in this region. Dave, how do you think that Rakis is sort of manifesting this? Do you think he's just like just like breathing heavy and foaming at the lips a little bit, and just like not letting anyone else otherwise know, or what?
Dave there?
Oh, Dave, you there? Let's see, is he still on the call?
David.
Oh, Dave's muted on the call. There he is.
Can you guys hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just pissing him off actually. So his usually dour self is actually progressively becoming
Happy?
Yeah, no. More and more volatile. So you can almost like feel the waves of anger kind of like emanating from him.
Love
so
it.
people are probably giving him a bit more of a wider berth.
Great, we're traveling with a mad cow.
Than normal. Wah, wah.
Love it.
Maybe with the exception of Oberon, but because he's kind of seen this before. But
guys, just as a timing thing, do you mind if we go till it'll be 11:30 our time, 12:30 Winnipeg time? Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Cool, buddy.
Cool. Okay, cool. Then listen, I need to take a 2-minute break. I just want to go to the washroom. So why don't we take like a 2-minute break here if anyone needs to take a bio break or grab a drink or anything like that? Okay, I'll be right back.
AFK.
Okay, I am back. Who else is back?
I'm back.
Okay.
Back.
So we just need James and Jeff, the JJs. Okay, so we just need James. Are you back? You. I'll take that crushing silence as a no. Okay. While we are waiting, I'll quickly do one thing I need to get done here. All right, you're right. move you down here.
You never made a kitty token.
Oh, fuck. That's one thing I forgot. I did not make a kitty token. I can do that very quickly. Give me a sec here, because I have... This is one of the things I'm fucking love about Roll20 is because I've got... Oh, I don't have that image on this computer. Shit, fuck. Hold up. James, are you back yet? No, okay. Give me a sec here. Give me 2 seconds, and I will... I'll get that.
Amber is no longer AFK.
Amber is no longer AFK. Terrific. Okay, so let me give me 2 seconds here, James. I'm just getting something set up for
A killer?
There we go. That's pretty cool. Okay, so I actually forgot to put the kitty's attack on your character sheet, so I will add that between now and next session. Let me see here. It doesn't mean you can't use it this session. I'm just actually, it'll take me 2 seconds to do that. Okay, go.
I mean, mainly like the defensive power is just really cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, I mean, it's a resource that you've got, and I really want to make sure you guys are making use. The more that you guys make use of your resources in combat, the harder shit I can throw at you, which makes me a happier DM. As I have said before, I subscribe to the die-hard school of DMing, where I want to kick the shit out of you guys. Kitty's, Jeff, looking on Kitty's, what's her hit points? It's equal to your bloodied value or your healing surge?
14.
14, thank you. Okay, done. Oh, I gotta give control over to you, though. Control by... Beauty. Okay. Okay, so while the... oh, we lost... Who did we lose? We lost... Oh, there's Amber. Amber's back. You back, Amber?
That's back.
Okay, so as infuriating as this first leg of the journey was, Rackus, you do finally crest the top, and you begin making your way down into a more I should say, actually, this map is not quite actually accurate. The road leads through the mountains down first before it goes into trees. So you have the Elseer Consortium to thank for the inaccurate map. But in any event, you guys are on one of these days making your way down, and I would like 1 second here. I would like Xavier to kindly give me a perception check, please. And what I'm sorry, I think I kind of trailed off. What I was answering before, Cork, about the magic stuff. It's not like, Saruman bringing down, like, magical juju on you on the mountain. It's just that there is something inherently.
It's like cursed. It's like cursed or something.
Yeah, it's a cursed peak or something like that. Although Xavier gives you a weird. This region, now that you mention it, it actually gives you a bit of a weird sensation. It both terrifies you and thrills you, particularly when you're coming down this side, the eastern side of the mountains. And Xavier, give me a perception check for me, please.
Coming up.
Boom. Okay. So you guys are making your way down the other side along this path. It's still mountainous and whatnot, but it's more spread out. There's still some small clumpings of small trees. There are rocky outcroppings and stuff like that. There's scree that sort of it makes it difficult to make your way down. And that's where we will find ourselves here, guys. So if you go to the middle of the road, you should see where your characters are here. You see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So unfortunately, because of your perception roll, you do not hear this before it happens. So this all happens sort of simultaneously, and some shit will happen before you guys get a chance to do anything. Just give me a sec here. This is perhaps my absolute favorite thing about Roll20 is to be able to do this shit. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Bum. So you hear a screech, and a bunch of tiny voices are screaming out in a vile tongue that I don't think any of you actually speak. Let me double check here. Nope. 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 And there is this mass of goblins. Small. Grab my. Where the fuck did I put it? You know, if I was a smart person, I would put all my fucking books that I need.
If I was a smart person.
Sorry?
Person, I would have cast comprehend languages on myself, seeing as how it lasts all day.
Yes. So I need to talk to you about rituals because I've come up with because of the way I'm using travel, the way that I'm also using rituals, they don't work well together. Effectively, it means that you could be like. So I'll talk about it after the session, just to give you an idea. So let you know what my decision was on that. But all right, so guys, here's where we are. I am going to ask you guys to each of you click on your token, and then click on initiative and roll initiative for me. Then it'll add it all into the turn order. These little critters are going to get a chance to act first.
Where's the initiative?
On the stats part of the sheet.
Oh.
And you just need to make sure you click on your token as well, too.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise...
Oh, yeah.
And... There we go. Okay. Oh, I need to make this thing a little bigger. There we go. And I'll move it out of the way. Okay, so let me enter what these guys rolled here. Okay. All right. Rakus, I need initiative from... Oh, what did you guys do here? Why do I have multiple initiatives from some of you guys?
Ooh.
What do you see two of?
I have 2 of Xavier. I have 2 of Oberon. I have 2 of Ember. You know, it's cool. I'll just let me just trash.
I've only got 1 of each.
I've got 1.
Yeah, we only see 1 of each.
Yeah, I'm only seeing 1 too, Kev.
Okay, so I don't know why it was on mine. Boom. Okay, cool. So first round, unfortunately, they do get a surprise on you, which means they get a round of actions first. So I'm going to go with them first. So click through down to the old Black Blade. So this guy, these is big and up here. He screeches. He's carrying a nasty little short sword. And what'll he do? He's going to move up 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Actually, he's going to charge the biggest minotaur he sees there. Wait. Yeah. What he's going to do, he's going to wait until after the crazies. So I'm just going to move him down in the initiative order here. So that one of these guys, these little things here, look, I'm not sure if you can zoom in and see them, but everything looks exactly like you see in the pictures here. These little green-skinned, I'll zoom in for the benefit of the listeners at home. These little guys are carrying these massive makeshift kind of battle axes. There is a guy who's got a short sword. There's a couple of them with arrows, and then there's some kind of on that rocky outcropping at the top of the screen, there's a guy with a little, like, carrying a juju stick, and he's waving around, chanting some stuff. So the first one that's going to act is one of these little crazies. This one goes charging in on you, and does not Oberon. So he charges in on you and tries to whack you with this battle axe, but just does not connect. Another one will charge in as well. That one does connect. So you take 6 points of damage. And this thing has actually wrapped itself around your legs. So you are immobilized, which will be blue. And you are granting combat advantage.
No.
Okay, so and then again, for the damage, just guys, mark it on your token, please. Because that way everyone can see what everyone should be able to see each other's healing bars. You can see how badly everyone is hurt.
While you're within one space of Kitty, you do not grant combat advantage.
James, you take 6 points of damage as well. One of those things goes charging.
So I just change. Do I change my 21 to less? Or do I
Here's what you click on the token.
Yeah,
And then
she does not connect to the token.
No, character sheet's not connected to the token. So just click on that and then enter 15, like subtract what it would be, and then hit enter. And you'll see that your bar goes down, and it'll let the healer know just how far down you are.
That's 20% of my life.
Okay, another one comes charging in. His combat advantage, comes very close to getting you, but does not.
Because he doesn't gain combat advantage as long as I'm within 1 square of Kitty.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That's a special power.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Does Kitty require an action in order to activate that? Just double check that.
No, it just says what they have an aura, alert companion, aura 1. While in the aura, enemies cannot gain combat advantage against the endless plane Cougar's allies.
Okay. Cork, you take 6 points of damage as well.
Okay, do I have to activate a power? As immediate reaction, when an enemy within 5 squares of you hits you, that target takes 1 radiant damage and is pushed back 2 squares.
Yes. So that is an encounter ability, I believe. So just on your character sheet in roll 20, click use next to that. Basically what happens is you do take the damage, but you spin around this thing. What does it look like as he's incinerated?
I just basically turn around and my eyes just go fiery orange. And I hit him with my staff, I guess.
Yeah.
And he just explodes into sparks.
Love it. So disappears. So you still do take 6 damage. So take 6 off of whatever your hit points are. And then let's see here. This guy will try and... Ooh, that's nasty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's going to charge in on the clothy. I think that's a hit. 5 plus combat advantage. Yeah. So unfortunately, you're hit there, James, and you take 12 points of damage. Shit. Oh. So this thing. As the 2 smaller things or the other ones with the battle axes are sort of like grappling against you, this thing takes advantage of the opportunity, jumps in and burrows its whoa, you are really fucked up. Burrows its dagger into you. Okay, the thorns are going to have to aim this round, so they're not going to go. And then I will let the acolyte go. The acolyte is going to
that guy that hit me, I'm using my Infernal Wrath on him.
Awesome. Go ahead and click on that. So anytime anyone uses powers in this too, just remember, perfect. 9 fire damage. Awesome. So what does that look like, James?
Her eyes flare and just flame kind of erupts from her.
Mm. If you really want to dish out the maximize the damage, I think you can stack that with that other one that does extra damage when you hit someone with an attack. I'm not saying you have to necessarily, but if you choose to.
No, I'm not going to do it that way.
Okay, so the acolyte actually isn't doing. He's sort of getting the thorns all riled up, and he's working some kind of mojo, and there's magical energies that are beginning to appear around him. So now we're going to the top of the round. So Ember, you were up first. What would you like to do?
I'm going to shift one.
Okay.
And then I'm going to...
Oh, actually, sorry, no, James, you were immobilized because of these crazies.
Oh.
Sorry. I'll put a blue on you.
Shit.
Okay. You realize as well, guys, the crazies, they're actually all dead.
Oh.
In the course of trying to grapple around you, they're actually dead. So you're still immobilized with these things around you, but they're sort of literally cannon fodder.
Undead?
No, dead. They died. They charged in with some kind of mad fury and threw themselves around you to sort of make it easier for the others to hit.
They just tuckered themselves out.
Yeah, poor little guys. So they're still there, but they're dead effectively. So you don't need it. They're not going to be attacking again.
What do they die of?
As they charged in, they sort of broke their little necks against trying to throw their arms and axes around your legs.
So what do you do?
They got fragile necks.
How do you get rid of the immobilization?
You'll at the end of your next turn, we'll give you enough turn to kick them off.
Okay. My action, I'm doing my second wind.
Okay. So you will regain, what is your healing? Whatever your healing surge is, I'll trust you know how to do that. Add that back to your tokens health. Anything else? You still have, and I'm not going to keep asking this, but if there is I'm only going to be asking for your standard action, and I'm assuming that you guys will look at your sheet and see if there's a minor or a move that you want to use. Okay, so then James, you are no longer, you kick these things off, you get some health back. Your turn is done. Rackus, what are you doing? Finally, something to unleash your anger on.
Yeah. As a minor action, I should probably move first. So Rax is actually going to place himself. What's my movement?
Rackus can move 6.
Let's see.
Just do it step by step for me, please, just because I want to see if you get a tax opportunity. Oh, they're dead, so yeah. Yeah, no, that's fine, Dave. You can move right there. Yeah.
Right there?
Yeah.
And he will use his Defender Aura.
Awesome. So let's do this. Aura. Defender. What color do you think Defender is? Blue?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So let's give him baby blue. Let's do that. Does that work? No, it did not work. Hold on. I entered the wrong thing here. Boom. That should work. There you go. His aura's up. Okay.
Okay.
Now what?
And can he take another minor action in the place of a standard?
Yep, absolutely.
Then he'll go with Frenzied Flare.
Frenzied Flare. Go ahead and click on it and tell me what it does. James, why do you have an aura?
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to see if there was some power you're using.
Hold on here.
Are we supposed to not see other players' auras?
You should see them. Do you?
No.
You do not. Okay, hold up. Let me. I think I can fix that.
Yeah, I don't see Raxus.
Advanced. How about now?
There we go.
There we go. Okay. Rocks. Oh, nice. Okay, so you were attacking what? The one that was on Ember?
Black Blade.
The only thing that's alive.
Unfortunately, that little fucker is pretty fast. So you, oh, you know what? No, Dave, that one you have to have hit an enemy with a weapon attack. See, the requirement is that you must to use your frenzied flare. You need to have hit someone first. You're right to try and use that to start. Here's okay, Dave. If you want to try to make maximum use of all that shit as an opening thing, here's what you could do. You could have used your minor action to activate your aura. You could then have spent your standard action to charge in against this thing, which allows you to make a basic melee attack. Then you could use your minor, your move, to take another minor to do your frenzied flare.
Or if I'm charging in, I can just go with a goring charge.
Right. But what I'm saying is, though, is that you could do a basic attack plus a frenzied flare, all in this turn.
Sure, why not?
Okay, so I'll use that as your roll for your frenzied flare. That will unfortunately miss because this guy's a little hard. But let's see how your basic attack does. Just click on your, I think I called it basic battle axe.
No, nothing?
No.
No.
Here,
No.
use your free action. Nope, you're clicking on the wrong thing.
Oh,
Let me take a look
there.
at your character sheet. Yes, there you go. Battle axe attack. Sweet. Okay, so 16 does hit. Nice. And only does 7 points of damage, but that's not nothing. Okay, awesome. You have bloodied this thing. So you're charging in, and you make this thing pay for its temerity by whacking this thing, and it is a really dangerous blow. Combined with the blazing fire from Ember, has quite severely injured this thing. Okay, so next up is crazies. Or I don't think there's any crazies left alive. Black Blade. Okay, what's he going to do? You miss with an attack, actually, Dave, with that thing. So he kind of scrambles back. And that was on your turn. So on his turn, he turns and is shouting something out to the other goblins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here we go. We'll go back over here. He goes scrambling back towards where they are.
Attack of opportunity?
No, because he's got an ability called Goblin Tactics, where because when Dave missed with his attack, he gets to shift out of the way, and then on his turn he can use his move to scramble out of the way. I think what he will do though is use minor to draw dagger, and he's going to throw it back at you, Dave, because he didn't like you, and that misses. So you it's actually a nat 1. So I think he hits one of the corpses of the crazies.
Yeah.
Next up is Xavier. What are you doing?
Okay, we are going some divine bolts.
Oh, what's that, Cork? Dave, what was that?
With him running away, do I get an attack of opportunity because of Vengeful Guardian?
Click on Vengeful Guardian for me, will you? I'm trying to remember what. Let's see what it says. I can't remember if I know if he shifts. Yes, it fucking does. So, and Dave, if you want to use that roll, that's fine. You rolled a nat 20.
Yeah, that seems adequate.
Okay, so I'm going to rewind here. So what happened is you attack this guy, and here, this is something that you will come to learn and hate about goblins. Goblins have an ability called Goblin Tactics. When you miss them with an attack, they get a free shift of 1 square on your turn. So that's what he tries to do. And after the mountain climb and after this ambush, you were having none of it. So nat 20 means a critical hit, which means you do actually 18 damage, which means you fucking annihilate this guy. What does that look like?
Rakus brings his axe above his head, and he's got his shield in his other hand. But with a raging roar, he brings it right down and cleaves the goblin clean in half.
That's awesome. Okay. So sorry, Xavier, now it's your turn.
It's daytime?
It's daytime, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to use Sunstrike. So basically, the sun goes dark for a moment, and then a burst of radiant energy goes flying at what's his name, Acolyte up there?
Yeah.
And
What is the range of your
10
sun
squares.
strike? 10 squares. Okay. Is he 10 away? 1, 2, 3. Oh, you're 1 shy. You can step forward 1 if you like.
Yeah, I will.
Okay. So,
And so I have to roll on this here.
yeah, just click on Sunstrike and it'll make the roll for you. Let's see what it targets. All right, so a beam of radiant energy strikes down on this guy. 17 reflexes.
And shift
Yeah.
1 square.
Oh, yeah. You slide the target 1 square. So actually, you can slide him in any direction you want. So that is, let me do the damage first here. So the damage was 12. Wow. Yeah, and actually forward, which means I'm going to require a saving throw from him to avoid falling, because that outcropping is actually up about 7 feet or so.
Cool.
So let's see if he's going to actually catch himself. He does. So he sort of you blast him and it staggers him forward, and he sort of falls off, and he's hanging from one of his little ropey arms, and he's got his juju stick in the other arm, and he's kind of crying out.
At the same time, I'm going to use prophesized arrival to reroll my initiative.
Oh, sure. Yeah, go ahead. Just click on your token and then click on your initiative again. I'll see what you got. 15. Okay, cool. Let me reorganize this. I'll just put you underneath Ember. Great. And then last but not least, Oberon, what are you doing? Oh, I got to go with the thorns as well, too. I'll do that on the Acolyte's turn.
Heal me.
You want me to heal you already?
Yeah, she took a pounding.
Yeah, but you're
She's down at 3 hit points at one point.
Yeah, but you're over half now, aren't you? I could heal you. I only get 2 heals per combat.
Okay.
I mean, I don't mind doing it. It's not a problem.
No.
I'm just saying.
We'll hold.
I only get 2. They're very limited.
Okay. So what are you going to do?
Well, I can't move, and I can't attack from this distance. Well, Kitty moves over here.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I could heal.
So if you want to use that, just click on it.
What's it called? Ardent Surge.
Yeah. All right, so you send a surge of powerful emotion that revives your faltering ally, Ember. Ember, you can spend a healing surge. You get 5 extra hit points and +2 to your speed until the end of your next turn.
That could be useful.
Yeah, Brent's going to love that. Okay, cool. So you're back up to full, looks like. And you got +2 to your speed. Your speed's an 8 right now. All right, so then let's go on the Gobos. If that's it for you, you are no longer immobilized. You kick those crazies off you, and what I'll do is get rid of their corpses for you guys. Where's my... There it is. All right. Now, the Acolyte is going to scramble. He's using his move action to scramble back up on top of this thing. And he screams something at the thorns, and then he turns and basically runs over somewhere over here. So I'm going to keep him there, but he's run off past where you can see. I'm not going to move him just off the map. The thorns will unload. Let's see here. We got no line of sight there. I think one of these guys has to move in order to get a line of sight. So he scrambles over here with his buddies. This guy scrambles over here to get a line of sight. All right, then I got, let's see here. 1, 2. Actually, I think the biggest, scariest one is the one who just cut down the black blade. So I got 3 shooting at Oberon. Actually, 2, 3. I'll do 4 at Oberon. So 4 Oberon. Let's see what we got here. Only one of those potentially hits. So these this hail of arrows comes down at you, and you're only hit with 1, which sinks into your maybe into your lower leg. You take 4 points of damage, Dave. And then
so they're shooting at Rackets, not Oberon.
Sorry, Rackets, not Oberon. Yeah. And the one that hit shifts one more. And then these little fuckers, I think they're going to go around the side and try and take pot shots. So they go scrambling down over here, and are going to try and shoot at the clothies. I got one against Xavier, which misses, and one against Eberron. Oh, or Eberron. Ember. Ember, you take actually 8 damage. I just roll a crit. So one fires at you and sinks into your, oh, God, your side. You're grateful for that heal you received.
You're the tank, right, James?
Apparently.
Yeah. Okay, so then it is top of the round. Amber, what are you doing?
I am. Oh,
She's pinging out.
I was going to do something, but one of your guys moved one square away than I wanted.
That bastard DM. It's almost as if he planned it.
No kidding.
Yeah, Dave.
Okay, you're taking into account the -2 for anybody that's not targeting me, right?
That is. Hold on. What does it say here? I don't remember if that's initial. Well, I rolled a nat 20 on the hit. The shot it hit Amber, so that would have hit regardless. But let me make sure I'm doing that right. I can't remember if your aura is only against melee. An enemy subject to your aura. That's it. Well, actually, let me get your character sheet, Dave. Sorry.
Yeah, it doesn't specifically say melee, but
Let me see here. Yeah, while in the aura, any enemy takes the penalty.
That does not include.
Yeah. So what it does, it represents you sort of like fucking them up
so
because they're so close to you. Yeah. So range unfortunately does not make that penalty, but it was good to double check that though.
Okay, I have you guys up here with my. Oh, sorry.
You're using burning hands?
Can't do that.
Burning hands, close blast.
I meant to hit the scorching. Here we go.
Okay, cool. Who do you want to hit? One of the thorns?
Yeah, these guys.
These guys. Okay, cool. Yeah. So that's an 8 against the first one, which is a miss, and against the second one, it'll do 12 damage. A 10, which I think actually misses as well.
Oh, it's a 23.
Sorry. Oh, 23. Sorry, I'm looking at damage. Yeah. Sorry. Thanks, Dave. Or James. Okay. So yeah, why don't you narrate for what happens there?
Ooh. Basically, yeah, she's holding her staff with the right hand, and with her left hand, she points at them and clenches her hand into a fist, and the column of fire erupts in between the two of them.
You think you've learned the goblin word for fire now, guys? They don't seem to enjoy it. Anything else you want to do, or is it next turn?
Next turn.
Xavier, what are you doing?
Okay. Xavier is moving forward within 10 squares of the acolyte.
Acolyte's gone. You can't see him anymore.
Can I not move up towards where the acolyte was?
You can. You're moving really close to those thorns then. Like you're not gonna...
You're saying I can't target the acolyte?
No. He's run off. Like they were higher up. They're at higher elevation, and he's run off somewhere.
Okay. Fuck it. I'm gonna give cast fortune to Rackus.
Okay. What does it look like when you're using cast fortune?
I start speaking in a long forgotten tongue, and my voice is like a kind of booming echo that is very intimidating, and basically through my words somehow Rackus just understands what his next 3 rolls are going to be.
Okay, cool. Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
So you may notice that the languages that you speak are abyssal and supernal. Those are the languages of demons and angels, respectively. What if what you're muttering is a mixture of the two?
Yeah, it probably is. And I imagine my character is like this serious business when it comes to warfare and doesn't even remember it when he's a normal kid.
Yeah, love it. Okay, so click on your omen or whatever it is.
Oh, yes.
All right, so I think you've seen this before. Ooh, so Dave, your next rolls are a 17, an 18, and an 8.
You can
Not
say
bad.
thank
2 out of 3 ain't bad. Thank you.
Begrudgingly, like, oh, well. Okay, cool. All right, so that is, I think you still got a minor and a move if you choose.
Me?
Yeah.
What can you do with a minor action?
Take a look at your sheet. That's what you got the this one for.
Reactions and free actions?
Those are reactions and free actions. They are not minor. You actually don't have any minors, so maybe that's it for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up is Rackus. Speaking of Rackus, what are you doing?
He's gonna charge in.
Okay.
He's gonna move his.
So charge is a very specific thing in this. I just want to make sure that we're so a charge is you move up to your move, and as long as you move at least 2 squares, you get to make a basic melee attack at the end, or you can use your goring charge as well.
Yeah, let's use the goring charge.
Cool. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, you can get into both those thorns easily.
Yeah. Do you want me to move one at a time still?
No. There's no one. The only reason I want you to make the one at a time is when there's a possible attack of opportunity.
Okay. So
Okay.
there is, and the goring charge.
Yep, and you'll get +1 to hit because it's a charge.
So 17 plus 1.
Oh, 17 plus 1, yeah. So it's an 18, and then what is your bonus to hit? Click on charge, and we'll just use your damage roll. You hit automatically, yeah, because that's easily good enough. So Dave, just click on your goring charge.
Yeah.
Nice. So that is enough to just annihilate this thing. This thing is like trying to draw back another bow, and then suddenly it's like, yeah! You pick it up, skewer it through on one of your horns, and with a jerking of your neck, you send it flying behind you. So that one is very, very dead. Anything else you want to do?
Well, that was a standard action. I still have a minor. Is that right?
You still have a move and a minor. If you got anything you want to do. Otherwise, it'll be Oberon's turn.
So you gain additional movement as part of your standard action if you charge.
Do you?
Well, I don't know. You said you still let him move.
Oh, no. It's just that so a charge is a standard action. It's not a move action. So like you could move your full move up to 6, and then you could charge another 6 and make an attack at the end. It's a basic attack.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Unless you're a Minotaur and you use your goring charge.
Yeah. Wait, what is Gordon? Oh yeah, so got a minor and a anything, Dave, or is it Oberon's turn?
Can I use my Blood Claw Battle Axe? Use a free action at will when you make a melee attack. I guess I didn't really make a melee attack, so.
You did make a melee attack, but these just like let me give you a little insight into the kind of metagame here. These things, because they're going down with 1 hit, it's likely that they are minions. So doing damage to yourself to do extra damage to something that will go down with 1 is not a good trade-off.
No.
Yeah, because you're just effectively doing damage to yourself for no reason.
Dave, minions have 1 hit point.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it's Oberon's turn then.
Yeah.
Oberon, what do you want to do?
Okay. So to be clear, I can move my 5 and then charge 5.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Well, then I will charge this thorn here.
Nice. Okay.
Gore charge.
So the Minotaur brothers are doing what they do. And you get +1 to hit as well, too. So 12 versus AC. Let's see, is that good enough? Is that good enough? That is, oh, fuck, not quite good enough. Yeah, you've got an action point if you want to spend it, but I imagine not.
Not really, yeah.
Okay.
And he Before he ran, he yelled "sick him" to Kitty, and Kitty runs. So 1, 2, 3. 4.
Remember that your cat, you have to spend your actions doing that.
Oh, it's my action. So
Yeah, it's your actions.
there?
If you used your move and you used your standard, then she can only take a minor action.
Okay.
You're using.
So it doesn't even follow me around. It actually just stands still.
Yeah.
No. When you move, you can have it move too. It's the standard action that you choose one or the other. But if you read the rule, yeah. Because Chris has got the same thing for his, and we were playing earlier this week.
Oh, okay. Okay, then yeah. So forgive me. It can move. How much?
So it follows me. Well, that's what I was wondering. Like, does it follow me around the battlefield?
Yeah, I guess so.
8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's only 7 squares.
Okay, so it comes charging after you. Cool.
It just can't attack.
Okay.
Right. Just follow me around.
Okay.
If I want.
Kitty. Actually, Kitty's got an aura as well. I'll make hers yellow. And
what does your aura do?
Kitty's aura is if you're within it, you can't have grant combat advantage.
Okay, so that was Oberon's turn. Then it is the Gobbo's turn. All right, so this little thorn, he doesn't know any better. He's going to try and shift. So Dave, go ahead and make your whatever it is, your opportunity attack.
Which one would that be?
The one that threatening strike, I think it's called. The one that when it tries to shift out of your aura.
Oh yeah. That is actually.
And these other little fuckers are going to shoot at
Vengeful Guardian.
Vengeful Guardian. Okay, so oh shit, Amber, you take another 4 points of damage, and Xavier, you take another 4 points of damage. Those thorns are still firing at you. And Dave, yeah, you annihilate that thing. And then the one that is next to Oberon, it's going to shit. It can't shift back. I guess it can shift to the side. So it's gonna. Yeah. Oh, you missed him. I should have been able to shift then, actually. So I think because you missed, it'll have shifted then, and then it's going to scramble up the side and try and follow the acolyte wherever he went. And that's the end of the Gobbo's turn. Amber, what are you doing?
Is anyone left? Oh, there's one.
There's the ones that are shooting at you guys incidentally are right over here. I'm not sure if you've to your.
I'm gonna drop a scorching burst.
Nice.
Right
Okay. So the first one is absolutely annihilated. Roll damage for the second one, or roll the attack for the second one. Oh yeah. So still trailing flame from your hand, you turn and bring it down again, and there's another massive explosion that annihilates the two goblins that were still bedeviling you. Anything else you want to do?
No, I'm going to stay with Xavier.
Okay. Xavier, your turn. What are you doing?
Nice try. I'm taking off towards where. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's my move?
6.
5, 6. I'm near where.
Rackus is.
Yeah.
Trying to help him out, and he leaves me behind.
Can I see the acolyte?
No, the acolyte. Like I said, he's run up. Whatever the outcropping was higher than what you guys were, and wherever he's run is somewhere like you have to run up that ledge around those trees. Moving through any square where there is a tree, incidentally, is difficult terrain, so it'll cost you twice the movement to get through it.
Yeah, but I have a bonus on going through trees when I'm bloodied.
I don't think that's a thing.
Okay. Is there any goblins that can attack here?
There is not. You can't see. You can hear them still because they're still screeching and whatnot at the top of the hill.
I'm just gonna yell, "We're coming for you!"
Okay. Rackus, what are you doing?
Let's see. Again, the acolyte and the thorn up top there are completely out of. They're out of view.
They're out of view from where you are. Yeah, that tree would block line of sight for you. So you try and scramble around that thing or charge through it. Just remember that each square will cost you 2 for difficult terrain.
Can you carry some smaller creature?
You probably could.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Pick me up and carry me over there. I've got a black power I want to use.
Okay, remember your black powers will not recharge until you reach Drellin's Ferry.
Yo, wait till you see the look on this acolyte's face.
Actually, I can, Corey, but I'm not gonna get as it stands. I'm not gonna get all the way through because 2, 4, 6 doesn't. It actually one. So 1, 2.
James, can you make a perception check for Ember, please?
3, 4.
Okay.
5, 6. Yeah, I would basically be 1 square ahead of where I am now.
Okay, never mind.
Booyah.
So 2, 4, 6.
Can't you spend an action point to get more movement?
Oh, I used my action point. I've got none.
Okay, so you start charging or kind of carving your way through that. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I think that's the end of your turn. Oberon, what are you doing?
Well, I can't see anyone, can I?
You cannot, but you can hear people from atop the hill up here. Yeah, and you could have seen where that thing scrambled up too. Like there's sort of, you can picture this outcropping as sort of like up and it's about 7 feet up to get to the top of it, and then there's a little a scramble up on the side is where the goblin went.
So I can't climb up right in front of my character.
Yeah, you can make an athletics check. Absolutely, you could even climb up this thing. The goblin had a hard time because he's 3 feet tall, but
but I'm huge, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not very good at athletics. Oh, but I rolled good.
Fuck yeah! So you can easily heft yourself up here. I think that's gonna be a standard action to get up there, and it'll be a combo of your standard to move to get up top. So you get up and you look, and you can see actually there is the thing goes down, and there is a bit of a depression behind the hill, which leads down into this winding path that leads into a little copse of trees, and then further off into the mountains. And you can still hear them and you can maybe see the back of that thorn, his little head kind of bobbing along as he's scrambling and racing down the path.
Right. So they're fleeing.
Would you make a Oberon make a perception check for me too, please?
Also 17.
Nice. Okay. So you look down, and it looks like the what do you call it? It looks like the acolyte actually dropped something, a little vial. A little and it's you look at it, and it's clearly not a goblin manufacturer. This is something of a much more civilized race, and it's about maybe this big, and it tapers in sort of a triangular shape, and the liquid inside reflects absolutely no light. It's pitch black like ink, but doesn't even shine the way you would expect a liquid to cast light. So
well, I'll go pick it up with the intention of giving it or showing it to Ember, because I have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
Matte ink black.
Yeah, really. Okay, I got marked in the wrong thing. Okay, so then the goblin.
He thinks it's special tattooing ink.
Okay. So here's what we find, guys. As you take a moment to sort of catch your breath, Rackus, you charge through, and by the time you get to the top, Oberon is sort of able to tell you where these things have gone. You have a moment to, kind of catch your breath, if you like. You'll have 5 minutes to, say, take a short rest. if you guys want to take a moment before you pursue these things, because they've got a pretty good head start. And they seem to be moving, for little guys, they move pretty fucking quick. Now, what you find, Ember, I mentioned that you found some pages that were stuffed in the belt of that goblin you knocked down. These are pages that are part of some kind of ritual. Why don't you make an Arcana check for me? Let's see if you can determine what ritual this actually is. Oh, nice one. Yeah. Oh, actually, you know what? I think it's a hard one just because of it's only some loose pages. I think what you've got enough that if you show it to Xavier, he'll have a +2 on his Arcana check. Because he's
Xavier,
quite
you want to take
clever.
a look at this?
Yeah. So Xavier, give me an Arcana check at +2.
Going right up.
20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20.
Oh. Okay, so you can't tell what this is. What you are able to glean is that this is some kind of arcane ritual. It's something that, I mean, if you had more of the pages, and this seems to have been torn out of something. So why this would be on there? I mean, I guess one other thing you would be able to pick up is that because of the state of the pages, this is relatively recent. This is not something that's been on his belt for months, that's been stuffed in there or whatever.
Can I take a healing surge?
Yes. So, guys, because you are taking a 5-minute rest, you guys can spend any healing surges you wish. If you choose to use one of those healing poultices, you'll get +2 health for each healing surge you spend. Though you may want to save those until you're more.
We had to take a rest to do that.
Which is what you're doing. You're taking a short rest.
Oh, I see. Just has to be a short rest. Okay.
Yeah.
Where's the healing surges on here?
Healing surges will be on the stats page, and you're going to adjust
I
the
think
current.
yours is a 5.
If you see on the stats page, there's current healing surges. It's like the second or third. It's underneath where. Yeah. So you're going to change that.
I'm going to use one of those potions.
Okay. So you're down to 14 of those.
Max.
Let me see, 14 of those left.
Mine just says surge value, and then I don't see where you roll.
No, you don't roll. You get an automatic. The value is how much you get back. You always get the same amount back. So and then what is your current surges? So for you, Cork, because your surge value is 5, each surge you spend will give you 5 hit points back.
Okay, I want to spend a surge.
Okay, so you're down to 6 surges now. Current surges is 6, and you can raise your hit points up to by 5.
Okay.
Brilliant. Okay. Okay, so Oberon, you've got. I guess if you're showing that that little flask to whatchamacallit, to
Ember.
Ember, thank you. Ember, why don't you give me an Arcana? Actually, Xavier, you give me an Arcana as well, because I'm assuming you guys are both. One of you will try to sort this out. Whoa! Whoa! You guys both rolled nat 20s.
I can tell the ingredients they used and where they found it. And
actually, you know what?
made it.
James, that's not a damn bad idea. Give me a sec here. I gotta figure out where the fuck I see. I was pretty diligent about marking down what where I found each of these things. I'm gonna have to look it up. I don't want to waste time now. So what you guys find, and here's what I'm thinking is, because you guys both rolled nat 20s, what this is this is a vial of darkness. It's something you can use to, like, you can toss it and it creates an area of darkness that will block line of sight. So for instance, if you had those irritating fucking archers that were, railing at you from one side, you could have tossed it on the side and created a thing that blocked line of sight. And because you both rolled nat 20s, I got to check the level out. So you may not be a high enough level to make it yet, but Corey, as soon as you are high enough level to make it, you can craft these as part of your brew potion.
Cool.
So, you can see where this path leads, and you can easily sort of follow it along, and you can hear sort of the gibbering of the goblins through the forest. This seems to be roughly the area where the free riders were set upon. Am I right in thinking that you guys are going to follow this path and try and make these goblins pay for trying to get at you?
Yours.
We gotta let one get away so he can spread the word about our adventure group.
Okay, cool. Well, then that, I think, is a perfect spot to put a cap. You guys all kind of catch your breath. You sort of look around, and Ember kind of asks, do we carry on? And Rackus just sort of snorts. And then you guys start making your way down this trail. And then we will pick up next session with where the trail leads. So for those listening at home, thanks so much for joining us for the first session for our Scales of War campaign. We hope you've enjoyed watching. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding the session, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the section or in the comment section below, and I will be happy to answer that at my earliest opportunity. If you have any questions for any of the players as well, too, I'll be happy to pass those along and communicate their responses. Otherwise, we hope to see you again in 2 weeks' time.